A loudmouth named Li Hai crashes a funeral, announcing he's there on behalf of Zhao's Excellence Group. The scene is the Meng family's villa, where they're mourning the passing of their patriarch. Li Hai gets right to the point, threatening that unless he gets a certain invitation letter, no one will be paying their respects today. The mention of the rival Excellence Group immediately puts the family on high alert. Meng Xiner is furious that head dare cause a scene while her grandfather's body is still warm, while her mother despairs over their vulnerability. The other guests are fuming, calling Li Hai a mere dog of the Zhao family who's gotten way too arrogant. They whisper amongst themselves that with old Master Meng gone, the Zhao family is making a move to snatch an important invitation. Li Hai just smirks, declaring that without their patriarch, the Meng family is completely finished. He then reveals his trump card. His men have already surrounded the entire villa, and no one is leaving. But just as all hope seems lost, a mysterious figure in traditional garb calmly walks through the gates. One of Li Hai's trash-tier guards tries to block the newcomer, threatening to gouge his eyes out for even looking at him. But before the guard can even finish his sentence, the mysterious man grabs his arm with lightning speed. Inside, Li Hai gets handsy with Meng Xiner, demanding she hand over the invitation letter before he takes it by force. Suddenly, the guard from the gate comes flying through the room like a human missile. He slams directly into Li Hai, sending the big oaf stumbling back with a cry of pain. Both the guard and Li Hai crash to the floor, right in front of Old Man Meng's coffin, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Li Hai, now furious and disoriented, screams out, demanding to know who dared to attack him. A slight, confident smirk plays across the newcomer's face. He's clearly the one responsible for the chaos. Our boy finally reveals himself, calmly asking if he can find Old Master Meng here. Li Hai is completely rattled, wondering what the hell happened to the 20 bodyguards he had stationed outside. Our boy just smirks, casually asking if he means the guys outside. He then informs the room that they're all lying around like corpses right now. Sure enough, the guards who tried to stop him are scattered across the floor, groaning in agony. Li Hai, his ego completely shattered, roars that he'll teach this little punk a lesson and throws a punch. But the newcomer catches the blow with insulting ease, his hand stopping the brute dead in his tracks. With a flick of his wrist, he sends Li Hai flying across the room, telling him to get lost. Meng Xiner is left completely dumbfounded, demanding to know who this mysterious powerhouse is. He ignores her, walking straight to the coffin and apologizing to Grandpa Meng for being late. But as he inspects the body, he realizes something is terribly wrong. Grandpa Meng was poisoned. He declares there's still hope, but Meng Xiner and her mother scream for him to stop, thinking he's desecrating the body. As he prepares a needle, Meng Xiner screams, demanding to know what he's doing to her grandfather's body. But an old doctor in the crowd recognizes the technique with a gasp. It's the legendary 7-star life, extending needle. Before anyone can react, the needle is in, and Old Man Meng suddenly coughs, his eyes snapping open. The room erupts in chaos as the family stares in disbelief, while one guest yells that the old man was faking his death. Our boy simply smiles, completely unfazed, and remarks that thankfully, he wasn't too late. The old doctor rushes to check the patriarch's pulse and is dumbfounded. It's strong, as if he's 20 years younger. A confused Old Man Meng sits up, asking Dr. Li if he was the one who managed to save him. Dr. Li humbly says he lacks such skill, pointing out that it was this young man who performed the miracle. The old patriarch's eyes widen as he finally recognizes our boy, calling him Xiao Chen. We then flash back 3 days, revealing Xiao Chen training relentlessly, as if preparing for this very moment. A massive pillar of golden energy erupts from the mountain, signaling a huge breakthrough. Our boy feels the surge of power. He's finally broken through to the Foundation establishment realm. His master appears, declaring his training complete and that it's time to get revenge on the Su family. Xiao Chen is fired up, but explains he has a personal favor to repay before starting his war. Taking a swig from his gourd, his master agrees, reminding him that the Meng family's kindness is a debt that must be paid. With his path set, Xiao Chen is ready to descend the mountain to repay kindness with kindness and settle scores with vengeance. The flashback continues, jumping back 10 years to the Meng family villa. Old Man Meng reminisces about taking Xiao Chen in, recalling a prophecy that the boy would protect their family. Our boy humbly replies that, without the old man's help, he never would have been found by his master. The patriarch then drops the real bombshell. He made a deal with the master for Xiao Chen to marry his granddaughter after 10 years. Old Man Meng calmly pours tea, reminiscing about how long ago he made this promise. But Meng Xiner's mother, Lin Meiqi, absolutely loses her mind, screaming that her daughter needs a capable man to support her, not some nobody. She calls our boy a trash-tier country bumpkin, questioning how he could ever be worthy of her daughter, just as Xiao Chen tries to get a word in. Before he can finish, the patriarch slams his hand on the table, roaring for her to shut her mouth. He fires back that she has it all wrong. It's not that Xiao Chen isn't good enough, it's that Meng Ziner is lucky to have him. Lin Meiqi is left completely dumbfounded, unable to process the old man's insane declaration. The patriarch then reveals the truth. He knows exactly who Xiao Chen's master is, hinting at a power she can't even comprehend. Turning his glare to Xiao Chen, he demands to know why he seems hesitant, asking if he has a problem with his granddaughter. Deciding to play his trump card, the old man decides to call Meng Ziner over, boasting that no man could lay eyes on her and not be moved. And just like that, the beautiful and elegant Meng Ziner is about to make her grand entrance. Meng Ziner walks in with an air of authority, asking her grandpa why he summoned her. The old man practically leaps out of his seat, grabbing his granddaughter and eagerly dragging her over to meet our boy. Xiao Chen is caught off guard. He hadn't noticed her before, but now he realizes she's an absolute bombshell. The patriarch proudly presents her, asking Xiao Chen if his granddaughter isn't the most stunning woman he's ever seen. The old man then drops the bomb. He and Xiao Chen's master arranged their betrothal years ago, and he wants them to get married today. Meng Ziner is completely blindsided, barely able to process the words childhood betrothal. Our boy is just as stunned, realizing the old man's crazy plan is actually serious. She sizes him up, noting he's changed since they were kids, and wondering how he single-handedly took out dozens of bodyguards. Xiao Chen just smirks, playing it cool, and dismissing his incredible display of power as nothing more than a little trick. His humble yet powerful demeanor clearly works, as Meng Ziner gives a small, intrigued smile. Just as Xiao Chen is sizing her up, Meng Ziner suddenly stands with a look of pure determination. Her grandfather panics, asking where she's going, but she just walks off without a word. She returns moments later holding a household register, leaving her mother dumbfounded and Xiao Chen completely baffled. With a smirk, she asks why they're so surprised, reminding them that getting married was their idea in the first place. The old man is absolutely ecstatic, pulling them both in and declaring all he needs now is a great-granddaughter. Our boy reflects that he never imagined his first mission would be marrying his benefactor's granddaughter. But hey, looking at her, he gives a thumbs up. He's definitely not complaining about this arrangement. Suddenly, her mother grabs her arm, reminding her that she's the future president of the Dream Group. Her mom demands to know who this country bumpkin is, but Meng Ziner calmly states she's fully aware of her actions. She explains that with her grandfather's fragile health, she's doing this to ensure nothing sends him back to the brink. Meng Ziner rationalizes that if marrying him keeps her grandpa safe, it's a small price to pay. Her mother, however, is absolutely fuming, vowing that she'll never accept this country bumpkin and will kick him out sooner or later. The old man, completely unaware of the tension, cheerfully suggests our boy come work at the family company. He even offers a cushy position with a starting salary of 300,000 a year, a casual flex of his wealth. Xiao Chen plays along, realizing the son-in-law status is the perfect cover to investigate who poisoned the old man in the first place. The next day, he finds himself kicking back in a fancy office, musing that a corporate job wasn't what he expected after leaving the mountain. His mind quickly returns to the mission. He needs to find the poisoner and source some top-tier herbs, deciding to consult Dr. Li. But his quiet scheming is interrupted when his new mother-in-law, Lin Meiqi, walks in looking like she's ready for war. She slaps a check down on his desk with a resounding thud. It's $5 million, a thank you for saving her father, on the condition that he takes the money and vanishes from their lives forever. Our boy just smirks, casually holding the check and telling his new mother-in-law that she's completely misunderstood the situation. She furiously tells him he's not worthy to call her auntie, inwardly convinced he's just a country bumpkin who's never seen so much money in his life. But then, with a grin that could cut glass, Xiao Chen rips the $5 million check right in half. Lin Meiqi is left completely dumbfounded, her condescending attitude shattering in an instant. He coolly explains that $5 million is pocket change to him, and he cares even less about the Meng family's vast fortune. Her shock turns back to rage as she realizes this guy isn't a simple fool. He's playing a much bigger game, but she came prepared for this. She declares that if He's so determined to stay, he'll have to earn his place, summoning her secretary with a sharp clap. The secretary, Lu Hanyun, steps forward, confirming that all the necessary documents are ready for her boss's little scheme. Lin Meiqi reveals his first task: collect a $10 million debt from a deadbeat company, framing it as easing her daughter's burdens. She slams the file onto the desk, ordering him to get it done, clearly sending him on an impossible mission meant to crush him. Lu Hanyun warns him that this is a suicide mission. The last guy who tried to collect ended up hospitalized. But our boy just smirks, accepting the job on one condition. If he succeeds, Lin Meiqi has to bow to him every time she sees him. Absolutely livid at being called aunt and given an ultimatum, she grits her teeth and accepts his ridiculous wager. With the deal struck, Lin Meiqi furiously storms out of the office, not wanting to spare him another glance. Xiao Chen just watches her leave, completely unbothered by her little tantrum. As her secretary is about to follow, he calls out to her, and she turns around, confused. He then casually diagnoses her from across the room, asking about her painful and irregular menstrual cycles. Lu Hanyun is left completely dumbfounded, wondering how on earth he could know such a private detail. With a sly grin, he offers a special massage technique to cure her for a small fee of 8,000. She calls him a rogue, but he quickly offers a free herbal tea recipe instead, proving his skills aren't just a cheap pickup line. As the ladies leave, Xiao Chen lets out a sigh, thinking to himself that being a doctor is no easy gig. Meng Xiner glances back, wondering why her secretary's face is suddenly beet red. She then turns to Xiao Chen, tossing him a bank card and telling him to buy a suit for the Wang family's banquet. Our boy is ecstatic. He was just stressing about how to afford medicine for old man Meng, and this is a godsend. With money in hand, he makes his way to a traditional-looking building, hoping it's Dr. Li's clinic. But the second he steps through the door, a pot smashes right beside him as someone screams about a charlatan. Xiao Chen doesn't even flinch, just calmly observing the chaos erupting before him. Turns out, some enraged guy is manhandling an old doctor, with a young girl desperately trying to stop him. The man is absolutely livid, ranting that his own father's condition hasn't improved at all under the doctor's care. He declares he's done with this trash-tier miracle doctor and is transferring his father to a real hospital immediately. But just as the man's foot comes down, Xiao Chen blocks it, calmly telling him that doctors have their limits. The brute is stunned, whipping around to demand who the hell this newcomer thinks he is. Suddenly, Dr. Li's face lights up. He recognizes our boy as the miracle doctor who revived old man Meng at the funeral. Xiao Chen just smirks, saying Dr. Li is too kind but agrees that he's the only one who can save the man's father. The son is completely dumbfounded, looking at this kid and questioning how someone so young could be a doctor at all. A short while later, they're in a hospital room where Xiao Chen is already examining the unconscious father. The son, Mr. Wang, gives them a final warning. If his father doesn't improve by tomorrow, all these frauds will suffer. Dr. Li desperately tries to explain that the condition is too severe, and one day is simply not enough time. But our boy just smiles, revealing a golden needle and explaining that for him, this impossible illness is no big deal. He declares he doesn't need a day, just the time it takes to drink tea, as he begins the treatment with a flash of light. Dr. Li is completely dumbfounded as the treatment takes a shocking turn. Suddenly, the old man coughs up a mouthful of blood, and his son absolutely loses it, grabbing Xiao Chen and demanding to know what he did. Mr. Wang screams that he was a fool to trust them and immediately calls for his men to get his father out of there. Without a second thought, they wheel the old man out, leaving our boy and the doctor standing there. As he storms off, Mr. Wang threatens to shut the place down and make the Meng family pay for this disaster. But Xiao Chen just smirks, saying that since the son showed some filial piety, he'll get one last chance for a real cure if he comes back begging within 3 days. Mr. Wang looks back in disgust, telling him not to even think about it. He slams the door behind him, leaving in a furious rage. In the car, Mr. Wang is still fuming, ranting to his father about how that young man and Dr. Li are nothing but trash-tier frauds. But just then, his father starts coughing violently again, and Mr. Wang realizes with dawning horror that the fraud's temporary fix is already wearing off. But suddenly, the old man realizes the intense pain is actually fading away. He even feels stronger, asking his son if it was Dr. Li who somehow managed to save him. His father grabs him, insisting that whoever saved him deserves their utmost gratitude, as he was sure he was a dead man. Mr. Wang is left completely dumbfounded, the cold hard truth of his monumental screw-up finally hitting him. Meanwhile, our boy Xiao Chen is minding his own business, having gathered some basic herbs and now looking for top-quality ingredients. He manages to snag a rare spiritual ginseng at a discount, thinking to himself that the trip was well worth it. Just as he's leaving, a convertible screeches to a halt, and Meng Xiner calls out his name. She playfully asks why he's still wearing his old-fashioned robes when she told him to buy a decent outfit. Xiao Chen just smiles sheepishly, admitting he completely forgot because he spent all the money on the ginseng. Meng Xiner sighs, telling him to forget it and just get in the car because they're short on time. As they drive, one of Meng Xiner's friends mockingly asks if this country bumpkin is the new husband she supposedly married. Another arrogant guy scoffs, saying a workaholic like her would never have time for a husband, clearly trying to score points. Meng Xiner, completely unbothered by the chatter, just lets out a tired yawn in the back seat. The guy doubles down, sneering that the precious Meng family daughter would never fall for a nobody who just popped out of nowhere. But Meng Xiner just leans on our boy's shoulder, calmly confirming he is indeed her lawful husband before announcing she's taking a nap. Her friends are left dumbfounded by the sudden confirmation, and the arrogant man can only shout her name in disbelief. Xiao Chen, with a smirk, crosses his arms and asks if the guy didn't hear his wife say she wanted to rest. The man absolutely loses it, his face twisting in rage as he demands to know who Xiao Chen thinks he is. Our boy calmly explains that his wife needs rest, so he's telling all the unnecessary people to shut their mouths. Defeated, the arrogant man puts on his shades, seething about some country bumpkin having the audacity to speak to him like that. Furious, the arrogant man pulls out a special ice needle, planning to hit our boy's acupoints to make him lose control and embarrass himself. He flings the needle with blinding speed, screaming that he'll make Xiao Chen regret ever crossing him. But the needle just stops dead in the air, right beside Xiao Chen's head, who doesn't even flinch. Our boy lets out a massive yawn, casually plucking the needle from the air and remarking on what a sinister little toy it is. With a flick of his wrist, he sends the needle flying right back, deciding this guy needs a taste of his own medicine. The purple-haired friend sees it coming and tries to warn young Master Zhang, but it's far too late. She can only watch in confusion as the situation spirals out of control. Suddenly, a foul stench fills the car as the arrogant man loses complete control of his bowels, screaming in shock and shame. Meng Xiner, now wide awake, calmly orders everyone out, leaving the disgraced man and his mess in the car alone. Standing on the roadside, she coldly tells him to go find some new pants, saying they'll just wait for him here. Still stewing in his own filth, Mr. Zhang screams Xiao Chen's name, absolutely consumed by rage and humiliation. Our boy turns around, barely even registering the pathetic threat. With a furious roar, Zhang lunges out of the car, vowing to end Xiao Chen right then and there. But before he can even land a hit, he's sent flying back into the car, foaming at the mouth from a single, unseen strike. Xiao Chen casually dusts off his hands, remarking that the guy was just being too noisy, leaving Meng Xiner completely dumbfounded. She turns to him, utterly bewildered, and asks what in the world just happened. Xiao Chen plays dumb, suggesting that maybe Zhang's old age and a kidney problem caused his little accident. When she asks why he attacked, our boy trolls her, saying maybe it's a sign of affection and Zhang has a secret crush. Meng Xiner sighs, warning him to be careful, explaining their family's weakened position and their desperate need for Zhang's connections. Xiao Chen just smirks, thinking to himself that it's probably way too late to worry about offending that trash-tier fool. Just then, another car pulls up, and one of Zhang's lackeys pops out to address his young master's situation. With a smug grin, he tells Meng Xiner that due to the incident, it's probably best to just cancel the banquet for the day. Meng Xiner is crushed, realizing that not only is the banquet off, but their entire partnership with the Zhang group is now on thin ice. But our boy Xiao Chen steps in, telling her not to sweat it and casually offers to go collect a 10 million debt owed by Tiankai Trading. She's completely stunned, demanding to know how he even knows about that debt and telling him to stay out of it. Xiao Chen just smirks, clarifying that he's not worried because he's still waiting for a certain lady to bow to him as promised. He looks back with absolute confidence, promising her he'll have the 10 million in hand by the end of the day. Defeated, she agrees to let him go but insists on sending Lu Hanyun with him, warning him not to cause any more trouble. They arrive at the Tiankai trading office, only to find the place crawling with goons and the boss waiting for them. The boss, Ma Tao, reveals he's a total scumbag, offering to reconsider the debt if the lovely Lu Hanyun spends a week with him. Lu Hanyun tries to reason with them, but Ma Tao's crew just laughs, saying they won't see a single penny. Our boy Xiao Chen just cleans his ear, completely bored, and warns the scumbag that he's in for a world of hurt if the money isn't paid today. Ma Tao is dumbfounded by his audacity, getting right in his face and asking if this kid has any idea whose territory he just waltzed into. With a roar, Ma Tao's goons charge forward, ready to teach our boy a lesson and maybe have some fun with Lu Hanyun. But Xiao Chen's eyes flash with cold intent. He's done playing games with these trash-tier thugs. Before anyone can even blink, he launches a lightning-fast kick, smashing his foot right into a goon's face, as Lu Hanyun watches in shock. The rest of the goons are sent flying like bowling pins, one even getting a chair broken over his back for good measure. Just as the dust settles, a man bursts into the room, desperately calling out for a Dr. Su. It's Mr. Wang, who freezes at the sight of the trashed office, his savior, Xiao Chen, standing over a pile of bodies, and a confused Ma Tao. Seeing his benefactor, Mr. Wang is livid, but Ma Tao, completely clueless, just calls it a minor accident and offers to get more guys to throw Xiao Chen out. Mr. Wang completely ignores the sleazy manager, his eyes locked on the man who saved his father. Rushing forward, he respectfully addresses Xiao Chen as Dr. Su, leaving Ma Tao absolutely dumbfounded. Xiao Chen calmly explains that this company owes his wife money, and even tried to assault her secretary, putting Mr. Wang on the spot. Without a second of hesitation, Mr. Wang grabs the manager and lands a vicious slap, screaming at him for daring to disrespect the divine doctor. Ma Tao hits the floor, a blubbering mess, crying that it was all a misunderstanding and that he had no idea who he was dealing with. But Mr. Wang is having none of it, yanking him up and demanding he get the money owed to Xiao Chen right now. The terrified manager is forced to his knees, his arrogance completely shattered. A moment later, he's back with a fat stack of cash, groveling and apologizing for his ignorance, even adding extra as a personal token of respect. Our boy doesn't even touch the money, simply gesturing for the manager to give it directly to Lu Hanyun. With the small fry dealt with, Xiao Chen turns to Mr. Wang, ready to write the life-saving prescription for his father. Mr. Wang immediately barks at his assistant, demanding he fetch a paper and pen, and to do it now. Without missing a beat, our boy gets to work, scribbling down the complex, life-saving formula right there on the desk. He hands the prescription over with simple instructions, as a deeply grateful Mr. Wang thanks him like he's a living god. With that settled, Xiao Chen glances over at the pathetic manager, Ma Tao, who's still a sweating mess on the floor. He coolly tells Mr. Wang that cleaning up this trash is his responsibility now, and the man eagerly agrees. Mr. Wang's gratitude instantly turns to fury as he grabs Ma Tao and declares that he and his entire crew are fired. The manager collapses, begging for another chance. But Mr. Wang roars that he'll blacklist every single one of them from Tianhui City. He then orders his assistant to get this clown out of his sight, and Ma Tao is unceremoniously dragged away. With the room finally clear of scum, Mr. Wang respectfully informs Xiao Chen that today is his father's 80th birthday. He presents a prestigious card, extending a formal invitation and declaring Xiao Chen an honored guest of the Wang family from now on. Our boy thinks to himself how this is the very invitation Mengxiner was worried about, and he just stumbled into it effortlessly. Mission accomplished, he tells Lu Hanyun they should head back before her boss worries herself sick. As they leave, Mr. Wang recognizes the woman with him as Lu Hanyun, Mengxiner's secretary from Dream Group. The gears in his head start turning. He remembers Xiao Chen at the funeral and now sees this connection, realizing he needs to rethink his business alliances. Meanwhile, back at the Meng family hall, Lin Meiqi confronts her daughter, Mengxiner, about the fight she had with Zhang Dong. She grabs her daughter, absolutely livid, questioning how she could possibly offend such an important business partner. Lin Meiqi demands that Mengxiner invite young Master Zhang out and apologize properly, because they absolutely cannot miss the Wang family's banquet. She even tells her daughter to dress up nicely, hoping it might make that trash-tier Zhang relent. Mengxiner finally snaps, telling her mother to stop meddling in the company's affairs and her personal life. But her mother just screams back, challenging her to solve the problem herself by getting an invitation to the Wang family's banquet. Mengxiner is left speechless and fuming after her mother's ridiculous demands. But just as the tension peaks, the door swings open and in walks our boy, Xiao Chen, with Lu Hanyun. He casually announces he's got the Wang family's invitation, leaving both mother and daughter completely dumbfounded. Lin Meiqi immediately grills Lu Hanyun, who confirms Xiao Chen got the invitation and was treated with the utmost respect. She can't believe it, shouting his name in disbelief. How could a country bumpkin like him know the Wang family president? She immediately accuses Lu Hanyun of being bribed by Xiao Chen to play some kind of sick joke on them. Pushed into a corner, Lu Hanyun insists she is telling the absolute truth, getting visibly frustrated. To prove her point, she pulls out a check, revealing that Tiankai Trading has also paid back the 10 million they owed. Xiao Chen smirks, coolly reminding Lin Meiqi about her promise to bow, leaving Mengxiner totally confused. Still in denial, Lin Meiqi snatches the check, convinced it must be fake and that they're trying to deceive her. But in a shocking twist, Mengxiner hugs Lu Hanyun, declaring that she believes her and wants to go to the banquet. Lin Meiqi lunges forward, desperately trying to stop her own daughter from leaving. She frantically explains that she's already called young Master Zhang to pick them up, forbidding Mengxiner from going anywhere. With a sharp crack, Mengxiner slaps her mother's hand away, completely fed up. She screams at her mother to stop meddling, making it crystal clear that she has nothing to do with this Zhang Dong. Mengxiner coldly tells her that if she wants to wait for him so badly, she can do it by herself. Our boy Xiao Chen, seeing the drama unfold exactly as had hoped, knows it's time to make his exit. He calmly tells Lu Hanyun it's time to go, and a determined Mengxiner follows right behind them. With a final, smug grin, Xiao Chen reminds Lin Meiqi not to forget her promise to bow the next time they meet. Lin Meiqi is left absolutely fuming, unable to believe her daughter chose that country bumpkin over her own mother. Lin Meiqi watches them go, seething that this scoundrel has turned her daughter against her, and vowing to get rid of him. She makes a last-ditch effort, screaming for Siner to wait, but her daughter doesn't give her a second glance. Elsewhere, at the opulent Wang family's grand hotel, the city's elite are gathering for a massive banquet. Inside, the party is already buzzing as influential guests mingle and exchange pleasantries. The word on the street is that nobody in their right mind would dare miss Old Master Wang's birthday celebration. But the real reason everyone's here is the rumor that the Wang family is about to announce its next major business partner. Amidst the crowd, an acquaintance spots the infamous Zhang Dong and casually asks why Meng Xiner isn't on his arm tonight. Zhang Dong just scoffs, loudly proclaiming he's tired of playing with a woman who's not that attractive and doesn't know her place. A few guests overhear his trash-tier comment, and one woman is visibly disgusted, thinking he's gone way too far. Her more pragmatic friend quickly shushes her, whispering that in their world, you have to be flexible to survive. Suddenly, Meng Xiner's own mother, Lin Meiqi, spots Zhang Dong and starts fawning over him. Just then, Meng Xiner arrives, and Zhang's cronies immediately start mocking her for crashing the party. Zhang Dong smirks, offering to forgive her if she apologizes with sincerity. Her mother disgustingly agrees, demanding she not only apologize but also give him a shoulder massage. But Meng Xiner has had enough, completely ignoring the whole trash-tier group and walking right past them. Zhang Dong and his boys are left completely dumbfounded, unable to process being ignored. That's when our boy Xiao Chen steps in, calmly offering some medical advice about adults wetting their pants. He diagnoses Zhang with a severe kidney deficiency, a thinly veiled insult to his manhood. The crowd erupts as they all notice the wet spot on Zhang's pants, whispering that this must be why he was dumped. Seething with rage, Zhang can only watch as Xiao Chen walks away, having completely destroyed his reputation. Meanwhile, Meng Xiner and her companion arrive at the banquet, presenting a special invitation they received from Mr. Wang. Zhang Dong and his buddy watch from the side, completely baffled as to how she could possibly know someone that important. The doorman, however, is stumped. He's never seen a fancy black and gold invitation like this one before. He politely informs them he needs to check with the manager, leaving them awkwardly waiting at the entrance. This is all the ammunition Zhang and his crew need, erupting in laughter and openly mocking her for bringing a fake invitation. He gets right in her face, calling her embarrassing and smugly offering to get her inside if she begs him. Her own mother joins the humiliation, scolding her for trusting Xiao Chen and demanding she stop making Zhang wait. But that's the last straw. Meng Xiner finally snaps, screaming at her mother to stop interfering in her life. She turns on Zhang, revealing the incident happened in her car and she was being kind by only asking for a cleaning fee. With a cold smirk, she tells him he's the one who needs a doctor, laughing at his pathetic attempt to blame her for his own mess. The entire room is stunned by Meng Xiner's savage comeback, especially her own mother who can't believe what she's hearing. Zhang's face darkens with pure rage. He's been publicly humiliated and he's not about to let it slide. He completely loses it, lunging forward to slap Meng Xiner while screaming that she's asking for a death wish. But before his hand can connect, it's stopped dead in its tracks by an iron grip. Turns out, our boy Xiao Chen stepped in, casually advising Zhang that his kidney deficiency is treatable. With a cold smirk, he reminds the young master that assault carries a hefty jail sentence. Meng Xiner looks on from behind, a little stunned but clearly moved that he's protecting her. Zhang finally recognizes his opponent, realizing it's the same guy who's been a thorn in his side. Furious, he scoffs at the idea that he can't handle them and orders his goons to attack. Xiao Chen just stands there, cool as a cucumber, as three of Zhang's lackeys rush in for a beatdown. But before a single punch is thrown, a booming voice echoes out, asking who dares disrespect the Wang family's honored guest. Just moments before, Zhang was gloating to Meng Xiner, telling her to watch and see what she missed out on by rejecting him. Suddenly, the tables turn, and Zhang is left completely bewildered by this unexpected interruption. Instead of his goons attacking Xiao Chen, the Wang family's own security grabs Zhang, who screams that he's their guest. He's unceremoniously dragged away as the real host, Mr. Wang, appears at the top of the stairs to greet his guests. Mr. Wang approaches Meng Xiner and respectfully asks if she is the one holding their special invitation, which she confirms. She's stunned by their deferential attitude, realizing there must be a much deeper secret behind this invitation. Mr. Wang bows deeply, apologizing for the disturbance and personally escorting them inside like true VIPs. The sight leaves Zhang and his friends absolutely gobsmacked, unable to believe these nobodies are the real honored guests. Lin Meiqi apologizes for the trouble, but Meng Xiner is feeling vindicated, knowing she was right all along. Meng Xiner is still processing how the invitation was personally handed to our boy by President Wang himself. Her mother, Lin Meiqi, scoffs, thinking the old man must have secretly intervened, wondering how Xiao Chen bewitched him. Meanwhile, Mr. Wang delivers a cold, hard verdict to the trash-tier Zhang. He declares that, For disrespecting his honored guests, Zhang and his entire family are now blacklisted from all Wang family territory. Zhang is dragged away screaming empty threats, utterly humiliated in front of everyone. Mr. Wang then reveals that this invitation is one of only 3 ever made, making its holder equal to the family head. Inside, the banquet hall is a picture of absolute luxury and opulence. The elite of the city mingle, completely unaware of the drama that just unfolded outside. Xiao Chen and the others are then led down the main aisle, receiving the full VIP treatment. A host personally guides them to their table, urging them forward as the honored guests of the evening. As they take their seats, a smug voice cuts in, surprised that the Meng family even qualified for the front row. A woman named President Meng turns, recognizing the trash talker as Zhao Lizhuo. Zhao smirks, lamenting that old man Meng didn't die, but boasts hell soon crushed them by partnering with the Wang family. Xiao Chen sizes up this new antagonist, realizing this is the infamous Zhao Lizhuo he's heard about. Unfazed, President Meng tells her secretary to fetch the gift she prepared for the Wangs, ready to play the game. The 2 rivals lock eyes. She declares the deal isn't done, but he scoffs that business needs brains, not just empty words. Just then, the crowd erupts, as Elder Wang himself makes a grand entrance, with everyone whispering about the rumored Zhao Wang alliance. Wasting no time, Zhao Lizhuo steps forward to present an outrageously expensive gift, the key to a legendary cloud-top villa. The guests are dumbfounded. This villa is a masterpiece of feng shui said to grant prosperity, a power move only a top-tier group could make. But Zhao Lizhuo just smirks, sarcastically calling her gift a mere token of respect. Unfazed, President Meng rises and announces her own gift for the Elder Wang. Her assistant presents a stunning jade bracelet, which she declares is a masterpiece by the legendary Master Che Rong. The entire hall erupts in disbelief. Master Che Rong retired a decade ago, and his works are now worth over $1 billion. But our boy Xiao Chen is just confused, realizing the bracelet looks exactly like one his drunkard master carved for fun. He remembers his master passed out at a table, complaining about being too broke for wine. There's no way that guy is a legendary master. The 2 rivals lock eyes again, both supremely confident that their own offering will seal the deal. Elder Wang then steps forward, wine in hand, ready to make the big announcement everyone's been waiting for. President Meng steels herself for the verdict, while Zhao Lizhuo grins, absolutely certain he's about to be named the Wang family's new partner. But Elder Wang pulls a fast one, announcing that before anything else, he needs to thank a very important person. He reveals that this individual is the sole reason he's even alive to celebrate his birthday with everyone. Both President Meng and Zhao Lizhuo are completely floored, clueless as to who could have saved the patriarch's life. The elder then begins to walk straight towards their table, ready to make the grand reveal. President Meng's eyes widen as she looks at Xiao Chen, wondering if her secretary's wild claims about him were actually true. Suddenly, our boy's focus shifts. He detects a faint wisp of spiritual power from somewhere else in the banquet hall. Without a word, he leaps from his chair, knowing that a spiritual artifact in the wrong hands is a ticking time bomb. Elder Wang is left standing there, utterly dumbfounded and insulted that this doctor just blew him off mid-toast. He then recalls the capital's best doctors admitting only a grandmaster using spiritual acupuncture could have ever cured him. The elder quickly rationalizes the snub, thinking he's not worthy to toast such a master and can't risk offending him. So, he pivots on the spot, turning to a stunned President Meng and offering the toast to her instead. Meanwhile, our boy Xiao Chen has tracked the spiritual energy to a gift, realizing it's a deliberate curse. He figures someone is trying to secretly murder the old man and decides to help them out by dispelling the dark magic. With the curse neutralized, he vows to track down the scumbag who cast it while the trail is still fresh. Back at the table, Zhao Lizhuo is seething, wondering when the Meng family got so cozy with the powerful Wangs. He starts sweating bullets, realizing his plan to use the Wang family to crush the Mengs might be falling apart. He recalls shaking hands with the elder's son, believing their business cooperation was a done deal. But his worst fears are realized as Elder Wang announces to the entire hall that his big news also concerns President Meng. Elder Wang raises his glass, announcing that as his family enters the beauty industry, he's ready to reveal his chosen partner. The bombshell drops. He's partnering with President Meng's dream group, leaving Zhao Lizhuo utterly dumbfounded. President Meng herself can hardly believe her ears, completely overjoyed by the sudden turn of events. Her mother Lin Meiki and the others at their table erupt in celebration at their incredible fortune. A fuming Zhao confronts them, but President Meng simply says it was a slight missed opportunity for him. Elder Wang internally admits that while Zayas' company is stronger, business means nothing if you're not alive to enjoy it. Seething with rage, Zhao Lizhuo thinks the old man has made a huge mistake and decides it's time to play his trump card. He slams his hand on the table, interrupting the celebration and drawing everyone's attention, With a smug grin, he announces he has another, even bigger gift prepared for the Wang family. Elder Wang remarks on Zhao's supposed thoughtfulness, but President Meng is immediately suspicious, wondering why Head give a gift after the deal collapsed. With a wicked grin, Zhao calls his assistant forward, who brings in a lavishly wrapped package. He announces it's a consecrated artifact worth a staggering 300 million. With a dramatic flourish, he unveils a golden toad statue, wishing the elder boundless fortune and longevity. His assistant presents the toad, and Zhao boasts that he had a master infuse it with spiritual energy just for Elder Wang. The old man is completely fooled, feeling genuinely ashamed and flattered by the incredibly generous gesture. But it's all a sinister plot. Zhao's inner monologue reveals the artifact is cursed with a mind control spell, his true goal being the complete takeover of the Wang family. As Elder Wang reaches out and touches the golden toad, Zhao puts on a show, saying the gift is worthwhile as long as the elder is happy. The moment contact is made, the spell activates, and Zhao can barely contain his glee, knowing his plan is in motion. He then turns to the dazed Elder Wang, mockingly cupping his ear as if he's ready to issue his first command. With a smug grin, Zhao asks the elder to confirm their new partnership, fully expecting his puppet to obey. But the elder just looks at him, mockingly asking if Zhao's ears are broken since he's so young. Zhao is completely dumbfounded. This was not part of the plan at all. He panics, grabbing the old man and asking if he's seriously backing out of their deal now. In response, before Zhao can even process the slap, the Wang family's security goons are already on the move. They grab him by the arms as the elder orders them to drag this trash outside to cool his head. Zhao struggles, screaming that this is impossible. He spent a whole billion to get that master to cast the spell. His mind races as he's hauled away, wondering how it could have failed and if he was just scammed. Meanwhile, the other guests just stare, completely baffled by Zao's sudden meltdown, wondering if he's possessed. With the trash taken out, President Meng is swarmed by her colleagues, who praise her for securing the deal. The Wang family elder raises a glass, apologizing for the little disruption and telling everyone to enjoy the banquet. President Meng wonders what on earth just happened to Zhao, thinking he must have been possessed, when our boy Xiao Chen suddenly appears behind her. She's startled, wondering how he always seems to just pop in and out of existence like a ghost. Back at their table, she asks where he went, and he just casually replies that he was in the restroom. She then reveals the bombshell news. The Wang family just announced a partnership with her group, even though she heard Zhao had it in the bag. Xiao Chen just smiles knowingly and congratulates her, as if this was the plan all along. He then gets cheeky, asking if she thinks he brought her this good fortune and demanding she treat him to the most expensive dinner. But her mother, Lin Meiqi, cuts in, telling her daughter not to bother with him, claiming it was probably her grandfather pulling old strings. President Meng is skeptical, knowing her grandfather always failed to partner with the Wangs, but her mother insists she's underestimating his influence. Lin Meiqi scoffs, revealing that the Meng family has a main residence in Jianghui City, a powerhouse that dwarfs even the Wangs. President Meng is completely dumbfounded. She's never heard her grandfather mention this powerful branch of the family before. She glances at Xiao Chen, rationalizing that if he really had connections, he wouldn't have just left earlier, so she must be overthinking it. Feeling superior, her mother then tries to order Xiao Chen around, demanding he fetch her a drink, but he just flatly refuses. She sputters, asking if that's how he treats his mother-in-law, but our boy just claps back, telling her to apologize first. He then completely dismisses her, announcing he's hungry and is going to grab some food, leaving her absolutely fuming. But just as he gets up, a doorman bows respectfully, informing him that Elder Wang himself has invited him for a private chat. Lin Meiqi can only watch in silent rage as Xiao Chen is personally escorted away to meet the patriarch. Just then, Mr. Zhang, the trash tier guy who got kicked out, sidles up to her, claiming it was all a misunderstanding he's already cleared up. President Meng spots them from her table, completely shocked and demanding to know how on earth he got back inside. Mr. Zhang lays on a pathetic apology, admitting he bribed the guards just to get back in and make amends. But President Meng sees right through his trash tier act, knowing he only came crawling back after seeing her family's new connections. He tries to play the victim, claiming he only acted out earlier because he cares so deeply for her. Lin Meiqi jumps in, pressuring her daughter to just drink the wine and make up for the sake of their business deals. For the sake of the family, President Meng reluctantly agrees and takes the glass of wine from his hand. The sleazeball smirks to himself, thinking she's a prime minister in the making for being so accommodating. But as she takes a sip, she immediately realizes the wine has a strange, bitter taste. Suddenly her face flushes red, and Mr. Zhang feigns concern, asking why she's blushing so hard. His fake worry instantly melts away, replaced by a disgusting, predatory leer as he sees his plan working. She begins to lose her composure, panting that it's getting hot as the drug courses through her veins. Barely holding herself together, President Meng announces she needs the bathroom, desperate for an escape. But Mr. Zhang is right on her tail, feigning concern and creepily offering to call his personal doctor to check on her. She shoves his hand away, telling him to get lost, but the sleazeball just smirks, enjoying her struggle. Suddenly, her mother Lin Meiqi appears, cluelessly asking why her daughter's face is so red. Seeing her stumble, Lin Meiqi actually suggests calling Mr. Zhang's doctor, completely falling for his trap. Fed up with both of them, President Meng tells them it's none of their business and tries to walk away on her own. Mr. Zhang just grins at her mother, promising he'll take good care of her daughter, leaving Lin Meiqi dumbfounded. A wave of regret hits Lin Meiqi as she tries to convince herself this virtuous man wouldn't dare harm her daughter. But it's far too late. Mr. Zhang is already dragging the barely conscious President Meng through a deserted parking garage. The car door slams shut, sealing her in with the predator. Inside the car, Mr. Zhang gloats over the unconscious President Meng, mocking her for finally falling into his trap. He can't believe his luck, realizing this woman is connected to the powerful Wang family. The scumbag regrets not trying harder to get her sooner, already reaching for his belt. But he figures it doesn't matter. Once he's done, she'll have no choice but to accept her fate. Suddenly, something sharp and fast slices through the air right past his face. The projectile grazes his cheek, and he stumbles back in shock and pain. Stunned, he turns to see a mysterious figure has appeared right behind him. It's our boy Xiao Chen, who grabs him and calls him a despicable coward for preying on the weak. Without another word, he tells the trash-tier villain to get lost, and sends him flying with a single, brutal kick. Mr. Zhang hits the concrete floor, completely knocked out cold. With the trash taken care of, Xiao Chen scoops up President Meng, relieved that he arrived just in the nick of time. He knows he could never have faced her grandfather if he'd been even a second later. As he carries her, the still drugged woman unconsciously snuggles up against his chest. The sudden closeness makes our boy a little flustered for a moment, but he quickly recovers with a smirk, thinking that saving a damsel in distress definitely has its perks. He carries her out of the building, where Mr. Wang is waiting for him as planned. Xiao Chen coolly flashes the Wang family's VIP card at the doorman, telling him to get a car ready. The doorman, recognizing the symbol of immense power, immediately bows and scrambles to fulfill the request. Arriving back at the Ming residence, a family butler is shocked to see Xiao Chen carrying an unconscious woman. After laying her on the couch, the butler asks what happened to Shinner, naively assuming she just had too much to drink. The butler notices Meng Xiner's feverish state, wondering if she's just fallen ill. Xiao Chen cuts straight to the point, revealing she was drugged at the banquet, leaving the old butler completely stunned. Wasting no time, our boy channels his energy into a silver needle, preparing his legendary technique. He expertly applies the needle to her neck, reassuring the butler that the toxins will be extracted in no time. The butler is now seething with pure rage, vowing to find out who dared to lay a hand on his young miss. Xiao Chen explains that while the culprit was Zhang Dong, the drug was too potent for a lowlife like him to acquire alone, meaning someone else is pulling the strings. The scene shifts to the Zhao family study, where the real puppet master is asking his subordinate for a status update. His enforcer, Li Hai, reports that he got the drug to Zhang Dong and is confident that by now, their little scheme has succeeded. The boss, Zhao Lizuo, flashes a sinister grin, promising to forgive Li Hai's previous failures if this plan works out. Absolutely ecstatic, Li Hai thanks his boss and leaves the office, completely unaware that his perfect plan has already been foiled by our boy. Just then, Zhao Lizuo's phone rings, and he picks it up with a confident smirk. But his composure shatters when a furious voice screams his full name through the speaker. He glances at the caller ID, completely bewildered as to why Zhang Dong's father is calling him. His mind immediately jumps to the worst-case scenario. That trash-tier idiot must have messed up and exposed their entire operation. Li Hai watches nervously as his boss's expression turns terrifyingly cold, though he calmly asks what the old master wants. On the other end of the line, Zhang Dong's father is absolutely losing it, demanding to know what Zhao did to his son. It turns out his son, Zhang Dong, is now just a drooling mess, completely unresponsive in a hospital bed. The father roars into the phone, revealing that his son has become a vegetative patient because of him. Zhao Lizuo is left speechless, barely able to process the news that his pawn is now in a vegetative state. The father explains that ever since the Wang family banquet, his son has been like this, with doctors confirming he'll never recover. The furious father explains his investigation revealed his son only interacted with Li Hai and Meng Xiner at the banquet. Zhao plays dumb, asking what is implying, feigning ignorance about his son's recent activities. He then flips the script, pointing out that Zhang Dong was relentlessly pursuing Meng Xiner with some pretty shady tactics. Zhao coolly suggests that the Meng family or one of Meng Xiner's other suitors must be the ones who took revenge. The father seethes, realizing his son's obsession with a girl has brought this disaster upon them. He roars into the phone, swearing that if the Meng family is responsible, he'll wipe them from existence. Seeing his plan fall into place, Zhao smoothly offers to handle it, promising to make the Meng family pay within 7 days. The old man reluctantly agrees, trusting their partnership but warning him to deliver on his word. After the call, Zhang's father looks over his son, vowing that he won't let him suffer this injustice in vain. But little does he know, his son is screaming internally. He's fully conscious and knows it was that bastard Xiao Chen who paralyzed him. Meanwhile, in a private hotel room, old Master Wang is meeting with an important-looking man. The man, Jiang Jixu, scoffs, asking if this Su Chen is really as incredible as the old man claims. Just then, our boy Xiao Chen bursts in, using the alias Dr. Su and reminding the old master of a promise. Old Master Wang is all smiles, immediately welcoming him and offering him a seat. He presents a wooden box, explaining that he managed to find the aged medicinal herbs Xiao Chen was looking for. Xiao Chen opens it to find a 1,000-year-old ginseng, practically overflowing with spiritual energy. He's ecstatic. This is exactly the high-tier ingredient he needs to advance his cultivation. Old Master Wang is just thrilled to be on the good side of such a powerful figure. With the gift given, Jiang Zishui finally reveals his true motive. He needs Dr. Su to examine a friend with a mysterious illness. Xiao Chen takes a moment before dropping a bombshell. This isn't a physical sickness. His friend has run into something ominous. Both Jiang Zixu and Old Master Wang are completely dumbfounded by the word ominous. Xiao Chen starts his diagnosis, asking if Jiang Zixue has moved or stayed at a friend's place recently, but gets a no for both. Suddenly, Jiang Zixue snaps, having heard enough of this nonsense. Old Master Wang is taken aback, asking his friend what's gotten into him. Jiang Zixu furiously accuses the old master of hiring a charlatan and storms out, refusing to listen to any more superstitious garbage. But before he can take another step, Xiao Chen calmly tells him to wait. Our boy explains that since he accepted the ginseng, he's obligated to help avert this disaster. Jiang Zixue should consider himself lucky. He then offers a talisman that can protect him from 3 disasters, but the director just scoffs, thinking this is a scam for money. Xiao Chen doesn't even flinch, shoving the talisman into the man's pocket and telling him the fee has already been paid. Jiang Zixue is completely frozen, utterly shocked by the incredible strength pinning him. He can't even see the movement or break the grip. Old Master Wang pleads with his friend, telling him to take what Xiao Chen offered if he values their bond at all. Jiang Zixue just stares back, his silence speaking volumes about his utter disapproval. He finally snatches the talisman, muttering that he's only taking this piece of paper for his old friend's sake. With a final glare, he tells the old master how deeply disappointed he is in him for believing this nonsense. Then, with a loud slam of the door, the infuriated director storms out. The old master turns to Xiao Chen, looking embarrassed as he apologizes for his friend's terrible temper. But our boy is completely unbothered, advising him to forget it and just keep a close watch on his friend for the next few days. Xiao Chen knows the negative energy in the director is about to erupt, as the old master gratefully promises to find the herbs he needs. Meanwhile, back at the Meng mansion, a young woman waits anxiously by the front gate. She's a friend of Meng Xiner, and she's getting worried after hearing that Shiner and Su Chen left earlier and still haven't returned. Just then, Lin Meiqi finally strolls back into the Meng mansion, only to be met by the furious family butler. The old man absolutely erupts, demanding to know where on earth she's been all this time. She nonchalantly explains she got drunk and stayed at a friend's, then foolishly asks how things went with Xiner and Zhang Dong. That was the wrong thing to say, as the enraged butler smashes his walking stick on the floor. Without a moment's hesitation, he lands a heavy slap right across her face. Lin Meiqi is completely stunned, crying out and asking why her father-in-law would strike her. He roars back that she has the nerve to ask after she almost single-handedly ruined her daughter's reputation. Then he drops the bombshell. Xiner was nearly assaulted by Zhang Dong, and her mother had no idea. The horrifying truth finally sinks in, and a panicked Lin Meiqi bolts to find her daughter. Meanwhile, in a quiet room somewhere else, the mysterious President Meng calmly sips a drink, her luggage packed and ready. Lin Meiqi bursts into the room, desperately calling out to her daughter, asking if she's all right. Meng Xiner calmly reassures her mother that she's fine now, though her expression is anything but warm. The butler appears, scolding Lin Meiqi that if it wasn't for Xiao Chen, the consequences would have been unimaginable. She frantically tries to defend herself, blaming a so-called friend for recommending that trash tier Zhang Dong. But Meng Xiner isn't listening, coldly placing her cup down as her mother's excuses fall on deaf ears. She tells her mother not to be mad, revealing she's planning to stay at the company for a while to get away. The emotional distance between them is palpable as they turn away from each other. The reality hits Lin Meichi like a truck. Her daughter is moving out because of her failure as a mother. In a last-ditch effort, she pulls out her phone, promising to immediately cut ties with the person who set this all up. But Meng Xiner has had enough, shoving her mother back and yelling at her to stop with the pathetic excuses. Her mother's pathetic excuses finally push Meng Xiner over the edge, sending her sprawling to the floor. She grabs her luggage, screaming at her mother to stay out of her affairs for good. Lin Meichi can only watch in horror as her daughter walks out the door without a second glance. The family butler looms over her, coldly stating that she has no one to blame but herself for this mess. Meng Xiner marches out the gate, ready to put some serious distance between herself and her family. But just as she reaches the car, our boy Xiao Chen appears, casually asking if she's going on a trip. She stiffly replies that she's just moving into the company to focus on her work. Seeing her struggle, Xiao Chen smoothly places his hand over hers on the suitcase handle. He then lifts the bag with ease, teasing her for leaving such a nice house just for work. As he places it in the trunk, he remarks that her dedication to her job is truly something else. Meng Xiner can't help but smile, seemingly won over by his charm. Without a word, our boy grabs her wrist, ready to drag her along with him. She tells him there's a shareholders meeting, and he jokingly complains about being forced into overtime. And just like that, they arrive at the massive headquarters of the Dream Group. But before they can even step inside, her secretary Lu Hanyun sprints towards them in a full-blown panic. She breathlessly explains that their flagship Little Porcelain Bottle project has been shut down by the FDA for forging seals. Meng Xiner's mind races. She knows their paperwork is flawless and instantly smells a rat sabotage from within. With a cold look, she orders her secretary to take her straight to the inspection site. As they head outside, they're stopped by a man who looks like Hez about to have a meltdown. This guy, Zhao Feiyang, gets right in her face, demanding to know what's happening with the FDA and their billion-dollar investment. He reminds her that if this project fails, the company's finances will be in ruins. But Meng Xiner isn't fazed, coolly telling the man she's aware of the situation and will handle it. Our boy Xiao Chen asks who this clown is, and Lu Hanyun explains he's Zhao Feiyang, the second largest shareholder. Turns out, this snake has been plotting this sabotage from the start. Convinced he's about to crush Meng Xiner for good, they finally reach the production floor, where Meng Xiner orders the FDA agents to stop what they're doing. A stern-looking woman, Qian Bing from the FDA, steps forward and demands their full cooperation. Meng Xiner introduces herself and calmly asks why their previously approved project is suddenly under investigation. Qian Bing drops a bombshell, accusing the Dream Group of forging official seals and shutting the project down immediately. She hands over the documents, and Meng Xiner is left completely dumbfounded. The evidence is right in her hands. Her mind flashes back. She remembers taking leave to care for her dying grandfather right when these papers were submitted. Meng Xiner demands to know who submitted the project, and Lu Hanyun reveals it was none other than Zhao Feiyang. Her secretary explains that while she was gone, Zhao claimed he had connections to fast-track the approval, so everyone trusted him. The horrifying realization dawns on Lu Hanyun that Snake Zhao must have been the one to forge the seals. Meng Xiner is seething, seeing the smug traitor standing in the distance, knowing he planned this all along. And yep, there he is, thinking to himself that he's got them right where he wants them. Meng Xiner tries to reason with another official, Jiang Jixue, insisting there's been a misunderstanding. But Jiang Jixue is in a tough spot. Zhao helped him find a specialist for his sick father, so he owes the guy a favor. He decides against helping Meng Xiner, thinking he needs to add more fuel to the fire to stay in Zhao's good graces. Meanwhile, Zhao pulls out his phone with a wicked grin, clearly about to make things even worse. Suddenly, Qian Bing's phone buzzes, and she looks up, surprised by the new message she just received. The message is a straight-up threat from Zhao. They have her father, and if she wants to see him again, she'll do exactly as she's told. Qian Bing is seething. That scum Zhao Feiyang is blackmailing her, but with her father's life on the line, she has no choice but to play along for now. With her hands tied, she coldly orders her agents to take Meng Xiner and the others away. The FDA agents immediately move in, warning Meng Xiner and our boy not to obstruct justice. But as they approach, a voice calmly states that they aren't resisting at all. It's Xiao Chen, stepping forward to shield Meng Xiner, telling the agents not to push them into anything unreasonable. Meng Xiner realizes this situation is spiraling out of control and desperately tries to think of a way out of this mess. The whole group is then escorted out by the agents, forced to walk through the building like common criminals. Lu Hanyun is beside herself with guilt, whispering to Meng Xiner that this is all her fault. But Meng Xiner just smiles reassuringly, telling her that as long as they've done nothing wrong, they have nothing to fear. Watching from the sidelines, Zhao Feiyang smirks, convinced that Meng Xiner is finally out of the picture. But just as they're being let out, our boy's phone suddenly starts ringing, cutting through the tension. Before he can answer, Qianbing snatches the phone, telling him not to move and that she'll be taking this call. She answers with a professional hello, but behind her, Xiao Chen is sporting a grin that says he knows exactly who's calling. On the other end is Jiang Zixu, an FDA director, who is completely baffled to hear her voice instead of his targets. Qianbing coldly informs the director that Xiao Chen is busy cooperating with an investigation and can't be disturbed. She then tosses the phone back, warning him to cooperate and not try anything funny. Jiang Zixu is left staring at his screen, absolutely floored that his own people are investigating the legendary Su Chen. Later, in an interrogation room, Qianbing slams down a pile of documents, demanding an explanation from Xiao Chen. But our boy just leans back, playing dumb and claiming he's just a new low-level employee who's in way over his head. Qianbing presses him on how he became the president's assistant with zero experience, thinking he's just some rich kid she can easily scare. But our boy just smirks, cheekily suggesting that maybe President Meng just hired him for his good looks. She loses her cool and tries to bluff, claiming Meng Xiner has already confessed everything, and that this is his last chance. Xiao Chen just sighs dramatically, saying there's nothing he can do if she refuses to believe his story. Gritting her teeth, Qianbing decides he's one of those stubborn types who won't break until he's hit rock bottom. She watches him through the one-way mirror, annoyed by his calm, law-abiding citizen act, and decides he needs a lesson. Convinced that a little scare tactic is all that's needed, she cracks her knuckles, ready to apply some real pressure. She watches as two of her goons enter the room, ready to test just how law-abiding he really is. But just as things are about to get ugly, a voice from behind her asks what exactly she plans on doing to him. Qianbing spins around, completely dumbfounded to see Director Jiang himself standing right there, wondering what on earth he's doing here. Director Jiang coldly informs her that he heard his savior was being detained, so he came to check things out personally. Qianbing's world shatters. She can't believe the kid she's been harassing is the director's savior and frantically wonders where he is. Turns out, Xiao Chen had asked Jiang what made him change his mind, and the director admitted it was because everything our boy predicted came true. Jiang recalls his absolutely trash-tier day, starting with a nasty car accident that wrecked his vehicle. He remembers looking at the talisman Xiao Chen gave him, noticing a corner had mysteriously burned away. Then, he almost got his head caved in by a falling flower pot, only to see the talisman take another hit for him. The final straw was his brakes failing in traffic, causing the talisman to burst into flames, having saved him for the third and final time. It all clicked for Jiang. The kid wasn't lying. That talisman really did protect him from 3 disasters. Back in the present, a humbled Director Jiang bows deeply to Xiao Chen, begging for forgiveness for his previous arrogance. Seeing her own boss bowing to her prisoner, Qianbing's soul practically leaves her body as she realizes she is completely, utterly finished. Xiao Chen just waves it off, telling the director there's no need for formalities since he was just repaying a favor. Jiang then turns his cold gaze on Qian, announcing that Dream Group's project is legit, but her backroom deals with Zhao Feiyang are a whole other story. The corrupt official starts to panic, begging the director to let her explain her side of the story. But Jiang has heard enough, giving a single, ice-cold command to his enforcers to take her away. As she's dragged off, Qian desperately screams that she was coerced, but her pleas fall on deaf ears. With that mess handled, Xiao Chen thanks Jiang for the assist, and the director is just relieved our boy is still willing to help with the negative energy problem. Jiang gets a grim look on his face, saying that first, they need to deal with the chaos she caused at Dream Group, and over at the company headquarters, the situation is already a total disaster. Employees are whispering in a panic, spreading the rumor that their president, Meng Xiner, has just been arrested. At the same time, the snake himself, Zhao Feiyang, smugly addresses the room, confirming that Meng Xiner has been taken and won't be seeing the light of day for a long time. Meanwhile, Meng Xiner's father, Meng Xiang, is in his office, completely stressed out over the company's sudden crisis. The company's board members are in a full-blown panic, realizing that these accusations could permanently destroy Dream Group's reputation. One of the executives slams the table, yelling that crossing the FDA is a death sentence, and demanding Meng Xiner give them an explanation. Others whisper amongst themselves, with one misogynistic director smugly remarking that he always knew a woman couldn't lead and should voted for Zhao Feiyang. Meng Xiang tries to de-escalate the situation, begging them to calm down and trust that his daughter would never do anything illegal. But the board isn't having it, retorting that the facts are undeniable and they can't just ignore what's happening. Another executive tells him to face reality. With Meng Xiner detained, protecting her will only sink their most profitable project. They corner Meng Xiang, demanding he come up with a solution immediately if he still wants to defend his daughter. Just as the pressure becomes unbearable, the boardroom door suddenly bursts open. It's Lu Hanyun, who bursts in and announces that the FDA is back, and this time Director Jiang himself is downstairs. The executives are thrown into a fresh panic, wondering what kind of catastrophic trouble Meng Ziner has gotten them into now. Amidst the chaos, Zhao Feiyang rises with a smug grin, telling everyone to calm down and that they should all go take a look. His mind is laser-focused on one thing: Meng Ziner's downfall. A dark, twisted expression reveals his true thoughts. He's going to save her, watching her fall from grace. He confidently strolls out of the Dream Group building, ready to seize the opportunity that has just landed in his lap. Spotting Director Jiang, Zhao Feiyang introduces himself with a grand gesture as the director currently handling the company's affairs. Director Jiang acknowledges him by name, and Zhao Feiyang can barely contain his excitement, pretending to be honored. He internally gloats that since Meng Ziner hasn't returned, she's finished, and the president's position is finally his for the taking. But just as he's basking in his victory, an agent slaps a pair of handcuffs on his wrist. Zhao Feiyang is dumbfounded, stammering and asking Director Jiang what in the world is going on. The director calmly informs him he's under arrest for his private dealings with their own officer, Qian Bing. With his dreams crumbling, they start to drag the disgraced director away. He completely loses it, screaming that Qian Bing must have fabricated the story to frame him. Just then, a luxury car pulls up, and none other than Meng Ziner steps out, looking completely unfazed. Zhao Feiyang's mind shatters. He yells, accusing her of setting him up and whining that he just wanted his turn as president. Meng Ziner looks at him with cold pity, telling him not to get it twisted, this is just karma. She leans in, delivering the final blow by stating he was never even qualified to be her opponent. With the traitor gone, Meng Ziner turns to the remaining executives, her father included, and tells them to get their act together. She then thanks Director Jiang for his timely intervention, but he waves it off, saying the real person to thank is someone named Su Chen. Meng Ziner is completely taken aback, wondering who this mysterious benefactor is, only to spot our boy Xiao Chen sitting in the director's car. Turns out, Director Jiang is eternally grateful to Xiao Chen, crediting a talisman from the Divine Doctor for saving him from some unknown disaster. Xiao Chen plays it cool, accepting an invitation for a meal, but his real goal is to investigate the aura of misfortune clinging to the director. As Xiao Chen and the director drive away, he gives a small wave, leaving Meng Ziner to ponder this unexpected turn of events. With the immediate crisis handled, she stares up at the company headquarters, steeling herself for the corporate cleansing that's about to begin. Later that night, under a full moon, we see a quiet, modern-looking house. Xiao Chen arrives at Director Jiang's home, who greets him warmly and mentions he just had the place renovated. As he steps inside, our boy Xiao Chen immediately senses something is deeply wrong with the place. His spiritual vision kicks in, revealing a thick, deathly aura as he tells the director it feels like someone died here. Director Jiang is completely dumbfounded, breaking into a cold sweat at the chilling declaration. He nervously explains the house was assigned by the state, making a death impossible, but he can't shake off his own recent bad luck. Xiao Chen clarifies that a deathly aura doesn't always mean a corpse, placing his hand on a wall to feel for the source. He asks if this was the exact spot where the wall was peeling, and the director confirms it, stunned by his insight. With a grim look, Xiao Chen announces that he needs to break open this specific part of the wall. The poor director looks pained, whining that he just spent a fortune renovating the place. But Xiao Chen wastes no time, telling him it's a matter of life and death before shattering the wall with a single, powerful blow. As the dust settles, our boy reaches into the shattered wall to retrieve whatever was hidden inside. Director Jiang is completely losing it, stammering as he tries to comprehend the nightmare unfolding in his home. Because buried in his wall is a human skull, absolutely seething with a dark, malevolent energy. And right beside it, Xiao Chen pulls out what looks like the murder weapon itself. He explains that the victim's immense resentment has been clinging to the director this whole time. As they move down the hall, the director is horrified to see cursed symbols manifesting in the air around them. He can't help but look back, his face a perfect picture of pure, unadulterated terror. The curse suddenly intensifies, and Jiang collapses, screaming as a splitting headache overwhelms him. Xiao Chen deduces the killer was on the renovation team and prepares a talisman to finally purify the cursed knife. Channeling his power, Xiao Chen promises the restless spirit that its murderer will be brought to justice. He slams a glowing talisman onto the cursed knife, unleashing a wave of purifying energy. With a brilliant flash, the malevolent spirit is completely erased, and he declares the job is done. Director Jiang is stunned as the agonizing headache that plagued him suddenly disappears completely. He thanks Xiao Chen profusely, but our boy explains it was the director's own good karma that protected him. Xiao Chen states, taking the knife, but warns that the spirit won't be at peace until the killer is caught. Now filled with righteous fury, Director Jiang swears he will personally find the one responsible for this crime. With the curse lifted, Xiao Chen finds a tranquil spot to begin his morning cultivation as the sun rises. He knows this is the best time to train, as the sun's purple energy makes his practice 3 times more effective. As he wraps up his session, our boy feels a surge of power, pleased with his recent cultivation progress. But his moment of peace is shattered by a deliberate cough right behind him, snapping him out of his trance. It's Meng Sheng, and Xiao Chen's attempt at a polite greeting comes out as father-in-law, which feels incredibly awkward. Meng Xiang heard about the chaos at the company and asks if Xiao Chen got Director Jiang involved, but our boy just plays it cool, calling it a minor issue. A minor issue? Meng Xiang is having none of it. Overwhelmed with gratitude for Xiao Chen saving both his father and his daughter, he asks about our boy's interests, and Xiao Chen admits he's got a thing for antiques and rare herbal medicines. This is perfect, as Meng Xiang reveals he's also an antique enthusiast and insists on taking him out for the day. Before he knows it, they're pulling up to a street filled with traditional shops, the city's antique district. Meng Xiang warns him that the antique world is full of scams and offers to use his expertise to help our boy out. Meng Xiang excitedly tells our boy he's ordered a special painting and insists on showing it to him. Inside the shop, the owner greets them, gushing about how this particular piece has been in high demand. The shopkeeper proudly presents the painting, claiming it's an authentic piece by a famous court painter, and asks for 2 million. But it's all a scam. The shopkeeper is inwardly gloating about how this expert-level fake is about to net him a fortune. Meng Xiang, completely oblivious to the con, is all smiles and readily agrees to the purchase. But just as he's about to seal the deal, Xiao Chen's hand clamps down on his, stopping him cold. Meng Xiang is completely dumbfounded, wondering why his young friend is suddenly getting in the way. With a dead serious look, our boy simply states that there's something wrong with the painting. Stunned, Meng Xiang leans in, unable to process what he's just heard. He argues back, insisting it can't be a fake since he already had a master confirm the artist's unique brushstrokes. The shopkeeper starts getting pushy, trying to pressure Meng Xiang into buying the fake painting immediately. Meng Xiang falls for it, hook, line, and sinker, frantically reassuring the man that he absolutely wants it. He then turns on Xiao Chen, angrily telling him to shut up because his meddling almost cost him the deal. Our boy just sighs, realizing that you can't reason with a fool who's determined to be scammed. Just then, the shopkeeper's phone buzzes, interrupting the tense moment. He excuses himself to take the call, and the ever-polite Meng Xiang just waves him off. Turns out, the shopkeeper is fuming, deciding that since Meng Xiang is being difficult, he's just going to jack up the price. Meanwhile, Meng Xiang is still lecturing Xiao Chen, warning him not to anger the seller with any more careless words. Xiao Chen just smiles and agrees, deciding to let this play out a little longer. A moment later, the shopkeeper returns, and the tension in the room instantly ratchets back up. Just as the shopkeeper returns, a new customer starts looking around the shop with keen interest. Xiao Chen immediately clocks him, realizing this must be the shill the shopkeeper hired to run up the price. The new guy suddenly gasps, pretending to recognize the scroll as a priceless masterpiece by a famous artist. Our boy just smirks, knowing this is the oldest trick in the book to fool half-knowledgeable suckers. The actor then loudly declares that he wants to buy the painting, leaving Meng Xiang completely dumbfounded. With a greasy smile, the shopkeeper apologetically informs the newcomer that the gentleman next to him already claimed it. But the plant isn't having it, arguing that no money has changed hands and offers a whopping 5 million on the spot. Seeing the shopkeeper hesitate, the man gets even more aggressive, instantly raising his bid to an insane 6 million. Xiao Chen calmly steps in, suggesting to Meng Xiang that they just let this guy have the trash-tier painting. This, of course, sends Meng Xiang into a silent rage, absolutely furious that Xiao Chen is trying to ruin his big score. Falling for it hook, line, and sinker, Meng Xiang slams down a check and screams that he'll pay 10 million. The shopkeeper's eyes practically turn into dollar signs, absolutely giddy that his little performance worked so well. The rival collector is completely stunned, sweating bullets as his part of the act is now to look defeated. Panicking, the actor yells that he can't get 10 million right now and makes a show of running off to get the money. Meng Xiang shoves the check forward, desperate to close the deal before the other guy can possibly return. With a greasy smile, the shopkeeper takes the money, saying that since the other customer left, the masterpiece is all his. As soon as Meng Xiang's back is turned, the shopkeeper's face twists into a wicked grin, thinking what an absolute fool he just fleeced. Outside, Meng Xiang proudly unrolls the scroll, gushing about how it's even more beautiful up close. Our boy just smirks, thinking to himself that when you spend 10 million, even a piece of garbage starts to look like treasure. Meng Xiang then turns and scolds Xiao Chen, blaming him for making him spend more and telling him to stay quiet if he's so ignorant. Just then, A couple of fellow collectors spot Meng Xiang looking pleased and eagerly ask to see his new treasure. Meng Xiang smugly says he bought something they'd never expect, but our boy tries to intervene, warning him not to flash his wealth around. But the old man is having none of it, getting ticked off at Xiao Chen's advice. He completely ignores the warning, declaring that great things are meant to be shared as he dramatically unfurls the scroll. He proudly announces he's obtained an authentic masterpiece by the renowned artist Yu Zhaiding, and one of the collectors agrees it looks legit. As the others express their envy, Xiao Chen can only sigh, thinking he already warned this fool what would happen. Suddenly, a new voice cuts in, demanding to see this so-called treasure, leaving Meng Xiang dumbfounded. An old man with a sharp gaze and his granddaughter have appeared out of nowhere, clearly here to stir up trouble. The girl introduces her grandfather as the top-tier antique appraiser, Sun, and says they're lucky to get his expert opinion. Hearing her bold claims, one of the collectors gets fired up and challenges the old man to prove his skills right then and there. Without missing a beat, appraiser Sun gets to work, carefully examining the scroll that Meng Xiang so proudly displays. He starts by complimenting the artist's diverse style and the painting's exquisite look, getting everyone's hopes up before they ask for the price. After a moment of thought, he holds up his hand and gives his valuation, a measly 5 to 6,000. But Meng Xiang's brain short-circuits, mishearing thousand for million, and he absolutely lights up, thinking he's just hit the jackpot. He's already getting carried away, puffing out his chest and promising to help the others with appraisals, acting like a big shot. That's when Sun cuts him off, clarifying with a deadpan expression that he said 5 or 6,000, not million. The color drains from Meng Xiang's face as the reality of the situation crashes down on him. He's been played for a fool. One of the other collectors can't believe it's a fake, asking Meng Xiang how much he even paid for this trash-tier painting. Meng Xiang starts sweating bullets, desperately pleading for them to just look at the brushwork, his confidence completely shattered. In a last-ditch effort, he grabs the old appraiser, refusing to believe he could have possibly made such a colossal mistake. Sun's fiery granddaughter steps in, telling Meng Xiang to back off and use his words, not his hands. She smugly boasts that if her grandfather says it's fake, while the old man just wishes she'd stay quiet. Our boy Xiao Chen calmly interjects, suggesting that if Meng Xiang is so certain, he should just tear the painting to check the paper quality. He explains that the paper is far too sturdy, and the colors too vibrant for a piece from that ancient dynasty. With his pride on the line, Meng Xiang decides he has to know the truth, even if it means destroying the art. He rips a corner, and Xiao Chen immediately points out the modern polyester threads mixed into the paper pulp. The evidence is undeniable. Meng Xiang stares at the torn piece, the crushing realization dawning that it's a complete fake. His mind flashes to Xiao Chen, suddenly understanding that this kid probably spotted the forgery from a mile away. But he snaps out of it, remembering the real culprit, the sleazy shopkeeper who sold him this trash. He whirls around to confront the scammer, only to see the guy is already making a mad dash for the exit. But Meng Xiang is way too fast, grabbing the scammer by the collar and telling him there's no escape. He slams the shopkeeper to the ground, absolutely livid, and demanding his money back immediately. The sleazy shopkeeper just smirks, reminding Meng Xiang of his strict no-returns policy, and asking how getting scammed is his problem. Seeing the sheer rage on his face, the shopkeeper backpedals, offering to let him take any cheap item from the counter as a consolation prize. Meng Xiang completely loses it, screaming that he doesn't want some trash-tier junk, he wants his 10 million. Suddenly, our boy Xiao Chen steps in, calmly suggesting that since it's free, they might as well take something. He strolls over to a dusty shelf and picks up a plain-looking stone orb, declaring he'll take that as compensation. The shopkeeper is thrilled, thinking he got off easy, and explains that the worthless rock has been sitting there for half a year. Xiao Chen just smirks and asks if he's sure, as the stone orb in his hand begins to crack and glow with an intense golden light. The outer shell shatters, revealing a brilliant green spirit stone, and Xiao Chen coolly reminds the dumbfounded shopkeeper of his own no-returns rule. The other collectors are absolutely floored, realizing the glowing pearl is a top-quality item worth at least 50 million. Even the old appraiser and his granddaughter are stunned, thinking our boy just found a priceless treasure in a pile of junk. The shopkeeper immediately lunges for the pearl, screaming that he can't take it, but Xiao Chen just smirks and reminds him it was a gift. With his face twisted in pure greed, the shopkeeper declares the luminous pearl is obviously his. Meng Xiang steps up, calling the guy shameless for trying to break his own no-returns rule. Done playing nice, the shopkeeper threatens to call his boss from Qingshan Hall if they don't hand over the pearl immediately. Xiao Chen, completely unfazed, just asks what Qingshan Hall even is. Meng Xiang explains it's a notorious gang under Zhao Lizuo, revealing he's long suspected them of orchestrating his father's accident. Suddenly realizing the danger they're in, He urges Xiao Chen to just give the pearl back and retreat for now. But just as he says that, the sound of a firm footstep echoes through the shop, signaling a new player has entered the game. The renowned appraiser's son steps in with his granddaughter, offering a proposition to our boy. He suggests buying the luminous pearl himself, guaranteeing their safety from the shopkeeper's thugs. But Xiao Chen just grins, saying he'd love to see what Qingshan Hall can actually do to him. The shopkeeper, absolutely livid, gets on the phone and swears they won't make it out of the antique street. With the pearl in hand, our boy coolly tells him to bring it on, much to Meng Xiang's horror. Appraiser's son can only sigh, lamenting the reckless confidence of today's youth. After leaving the shop, they speed down the highway, hoping to put some distance between them and the trouble. Meng Xiang nervously asks if the shopkeeper was just bluffing, but Xiao Chen tells him not to worry. Suddenly, another car slams into them from the side, cutting them off with brutal force. The impact sends their driver lurching forward, proving the shopkeeper's threat was anything but empty. Their car screeches to a halt, boxed in by the aggressors on the empty highway. A crew of thugs piles out, led by a brute named Li Hai, who asks if they're the ones causing trouble in Qingshan Hall's territory. Before they can even answer, a bat smashes against their window, terrifying the driver while our boy Xiao Chen remains completely unfazed. The goons mock their audacity, looming over the car with bats ready, clearly enjoying the driver's panic. Li Hai smirks, confident that the name Qingshan Hall is enough to make anyone tremble in fear. But his face drops when Xiao Chen calmly steps out of the car, and the enforcer realizes this is the kid he was sent to deal with. One of the trash-tier thugs steps forward, telling Xiao Chen to be more careful in his next life as he prepares to swing. Two of them lunge at once, bringing their bats down with enough force to crush a normal person's skull. Suddenly, Li Hei's eyes go wide with terror as he screams for his men to stop, having just realized who they're messing with. But it's far too late. Xiao Chen effortlessly swats them aside, sending them flying as he complains they're being too noisy. The tough guy act completely shatters as Li Hai collapses to the ground, crying that he can't be hit now that his men are down. Xiao Chen looms over him, remarking that it's fate they meet again, which sends Li Hai into a desperate fit of begging for his life. Our boy has a simple request. Take him to the Qingshan Hall headquarters, an order that leaves the enforcer utterly dumbfounded. Turns out, Xiao Chen is in a foul mood and plans to settle all scores today, starting with finding out if Qingshan Hall was behind Old Man Meng's poisoning. The full weight of the situation crushes Li Hai, who can only tremble in the spotlight, realizing his life is basically over. With no other choice, he's forced to lead Xiao Chen straight to the front door of the Qingshan Hall main building. Li Hai pleads for him to slow down, but Xiao Chen just scoffs, asking what he has to be afraid of when he's the one causing trouble. The enforcer frantically explains that Qingshan Hall has a monster named Wang Qingshan, a fighting prodigy destined to become a grandmaster. He admits he's just a figurehead. Wang Qingshan is the real power, and he'll definitely be killed for bringing an outsider. At the last second, Li Hai tries to weasel his way out of going inside, but our boy just shuts him down, asking what he's so afraid of. Xiao Chen gives the terrified enforcer a chilling offer. Play his cards right, and the boss's seat could be his for the taking. Inside, the real boss, Wang Qingshan, is busy relaxing, wondering why his lackey is taking so long with a simple street problem. He gets up in a huff, annoyed at Li Hei's constant failures, and decides he'll have to deal with this mess himself. Suddenly, the doors to his private room are blasted open, and a body comes flying through, crashing hard onto the floor. Our boy strolls in without a care in the world, stepping over the unconscious guard and asking if he's finally met the infamous Wang Qingshan. The tattooed brawler is completely dumbfounded, jumping to his feet and demanding to know who this intruder is. Xiao Chen gets straight to business, asking if Wang Qingshan had a hand in the poisoning of the Meng family's old master. The prodigy tries to read his power level but finds nothing, concluding this guy is either a total nobody or on a whole other level. He bets on him being a nobody, since a cultivator that young and powerful would be famous, and launches forward for a one-punch knockout. Wang Qingshan roars that Qingshan Hall isn't a playground, throwing a lightning-fast punch meant to end this little intrusion for good. But Xiao Chen just smirks, easily catching the punch with a burst of his own energy. Wang Qingshan's ultimate move is stopped cold, the impact shaking the room but leaving our boy unfazed. Before the brawler can even blink, Xiao Chen vanishes, reappearing behind him in a flash. With golden energy swirling around his hand, he mocks the so-called prodigy, calling him a dead man walking. A single, invisible strike sends Wang Qingshan flying, coughing up blood as he wonders how he couldn't even see the attack. He's slammed into the floor, utterly defeated, his mind reeling at the possibility that this kid has already surpassed him. Watching from a reflection, Li Hai starts to sweat, realizing that if Qingshan Hall falls, he's a dead man. He decides to cut his losses and make a run for it, figuring he's doomed either way. Just as He's about to escape, a hand grabs his shoulder, and Xiao Chen calmly asks where he's off to in such a hurry. The terrified enforcer tries a pathetic excuse about feeding his chickens before immediately groveling and calling Xiao Chen boss. Our boy smirks, noting that Qingshan Hall has plenty of goons, and it would be a real waste to just get rid of them. He makes Li Hai an offer he can't refuse: take charge of the goons, work for him, and get his payment from Zhao Lizuo. The enforcer is dumbfounded, realizing Xiao Chen wants him to be a double agent, and our boy just asks if he's not up for it. Li Hai immediately breaks down in tears, screaming that he'll do it while mentally apologizing to Boss Zhao for the betrayal. With the deal settled, Xiao Chen casually flicks his wrist, informing the terrified goon that he's already placed a curse on him to prevent any escape attempts. A glowing sigil suddenly burns itself onto Li Hai's arm. Pulsing with an unknown energy, Li Hai stares in horror at the mark, feeling the strange power coursing through him, completely freaking out. Having secured his new pawn, Xiao Chen warns him not to try anything funny before turning to leave, saying he'll be in touch. Left alone, Li Hai collapses to the floor, utterly broken as he laments his new fate as a slave to two different masters. Meanwhile, in a quiet antique shop, a smug-looking shopkeeper sips his tea, blissfully unaware of the chaos about to come his way. The shopkeeper chuckles to himself, imagining that punk kid getting beaten senseless and begging for his life. Suddenly, his eyes dart to the side as he hears someone approach. He looks up to see Li Hai has returned and eagerly calls out to him. The shopkeeper rubs his hands together, asking if Xiao Chen has been beaten to a pulp yet. Li Hai grimly recalls his own men getting absolutely demolished, muttering that someone was indeed beaten but it wasn't Xiao Chen. He then snaps, grabbing the shopkeeper by the collar and screaming that this is all his fault. If it weren't for this trash tier mission, he wouldn't be stuck in this miserable position with our boy. Still fuming, he pulls out his phone, wondering if the curse is really powerful enough to detect a simple call. The curse immediately activates, sending a jolt of pure agony through his body as he collapses, promising never to defy it again. Having learned his lesson, Li Hai looms over the terrified shopkeeper, demanding some serious compensation for all his troubles. A little later, Li Hai walks off with his compensation, leaving the poor shopkeeper utterly ruined. Meanwhile, at the Excellence Group headquarters, someone is getting very impatient. Turns out, it's Li Hai's boss, Zhao Lizuo, and he's fuming that his subordinate isn't picking up. He absolutely loses it, slamming his phone down and cursing Li Hai for disappearing on him. Just then, his phone rings, but it's not the call he was expecting. Annoyed, he answers, pinching the bridge of his nose in frustration. The man on the other end, Zhang Lingshou, gets straight to the point, demanding to know why the Meng family is still standing. Zhao Lizuo tries to explain the unexpected setback with the FDA, but Zhang Lingshou couldn't care less about excuses. But Zhao Lizuo smirks, revealing his backup plan. Zhao Feiyang's failure has made his father furious with the Mengs. He's now targeting the Dream Group's most popular project, which is run by Feiyang's father, and has his own people ready to move in. He cackles, boasting that He's poaching all of Dream Group's key personnel, leaving them to crumble. Meanwhile, back at the Meng Villa, our boy Xiao Chen is just trying to enjoy a peaceful cup of tea. But that peace is shattered when a giddy Meng Hao comes running over, calling his name. Xiao Chen is a bit taken aback, asking why he's in such an unusually cheerful mood. Turns out, the antique dealer who scammed him not only returned his money but also gifted him an authentic painting as an apology. Even though it was free, Meng Hao asks if Xiao Chen could use his expert eye to see if it's the real deal. Just as he's about to unroll the scroll, he spots Meng Siner walking towards them with a grim look on her face. She storms over, looking for pharmacist Yue, while her father wonders why she seems so upset. She drops the bombshell. Their lead pharmacist has defected to the competition, taking the entire core team with him. The news is so dire that even Xiao Chen gets serious, standing up and asking if he should go see the pharmacist too. Meng Hao just sighs, realizing his painting will have to wait as he watches his daughter and Xiao Chen rush off to deal with the crisis. They all gather in a meeting room, where an old pharmacist named Master Yue sits across from a stressed-out Meng Xiner and a calm Xiao Chen. Master Yue drops the bad news, explaining it will take his team at least a year to reverse engineer the competitor's skincare formula. Meng Xiner is crushed. She knows Dream Group will be completely wiped out by then and desperately asks if there's any other way. But our boy Xiao Chen just scoffs, wondering what kind of trash-tier formula could possibly take an entire year to figure out. He picks up the jar of cream, giving it a quick once-over, completely unimpressed by the supposed miracle product. As Master Yue explains, the real bottleneck is a complex ingredient extraction method. Xiao Chen is already busy writing something down. The old pharmacist then starts making excuses, saying he's getting too old for this pressure and hinting that he's ready to jump ship. Meng Xiner's heart sinks, thinking that if even their top expert is abandoning them, Dream Group is well and truly finished. Suddenly, Xiao Chen slides a paper across the table, casually stating he's already written down a simpler method and has an even better formula ready to go. Meng Xianer, completely drained, tells him to stop joking around. She's clearly not in the mood. She tries to laugh it off, thinking he's just trying to lighten the mood since you can't just sniff out a complex formula. But our boy just leans back with a smirk, confidently telling her that yes, he can do it. Master Yue decides to humor the arrogant young man, taking the paper to see what he's scribbled down. The moment his eyes scan the page, he's completely dumbfounded, his jaw practically hitting the floor. Meng Xianer is baffled by his sudden and extreme reaction, wondering what's going on. The old pharmacist leaps to his feet, desperately asking if Xiao Chen truly has an even stronger formula he can see. Xiao Chen, cool as ever, simply says of course and casually jots down another masterpiece. He hands the second formula to the trembling pharmacist, who receives it like a holy scripture. Master Yue is overcome with emotion, realizing he's holding the legendary Shengshui secret formula, something he thought he'd never see in his lifetime. The old pharmacist suddenly transforms into a fawning puppy, begging Meng Xianer to let him prepare the formula and even offering a massive pay cut to renew his contract. Before she can even react, Master Yue bolts out of the room, promising to send the new contract over immediately. Completely baffled, Meng Xianer turns to our boy, asking if this simple piece of paper is really that amazing. Xiao Chen calmly explains that its effects are like cold light skincare, only infinitely better. He then drops the bomb, revealing its legendary name, the Shengshui secret formula, and her eyes go wide with recognition. Turns out, even she's heard the legends of this ancient recipe, created for empresses and thought to be lost forever. The weight of his words hits her like a truck. She realizes she's holding an absolute treasure that could revolutionize her company. Her tone shifts as she demands to know where on earth he managed to get his hands on something so priceless. He casually recounts how his master gave him a fragment as a test, and he simply restored the entire thing, much to the old man's disbelief. Meng Xianer is left speechless, remembering how corporations have failed after spending billions trying to replicate this. And this kid just did it. Meng Xianer connects the dots, realizing this god-tier formula must have come from Xiao Chen's mysterious master, a man her grandfather held in high esteem. She decides it doesn't matter where it came from. With this recipe, the company's profits are about to explode. Feeling incredibly generous, she offers to grant our boy any one request as a reward for the priceless formula. Xiao Chen just smirks, a glint in his eye as he mulls over the possibilities of what a powerful CEO could grant him. Meng Xianer waits with her arms crossed, exuding the calm confidence of someone who can make almost anything happen. But instead of asking for a fortune, he humbly requests just a few million to buy some medicinal herbs, leaving her completely dumbfounded by his modesty. She scoffs at the small sum and tosses him a gold card with 50 million, calling it a simple advance for the formula. With his new funds secured, Xiao Chen heads out, determined to find better quality herbs this time around. He strolls into a familiar-looking traditional apothecary, spotting the old Dr. Li working behind the counter. Meanwhile, Dr. Li is scratching his head over a prescription, feeling like a crucial ingredient is missing but unable to pinpoint what it is. Our boy casually points out the obvious solution to the doctor's problem. Licorice root, of course. A light bulb goes off in Dr. Li's head. He realizes it's the king of all herbs needed to perfect the formula. Finally, noticing his guest, the old doctor recognizes him as the expert Dr. Su and asks what he's doing here. Xiao Chen gets straight to business, asking for top-tier herbs that are at least 1,000 years old. Dr. Li boasts that his shop is the only place in the city with such treasures, but claims they're priceless. The word priceless means nothing to our boy, who coolly crosses his arms to think up a counteroffer. He proposes a trade, a secret refining method that prevents potency loss in exchange for the ancient herbs. The scene shifts to a private alchemy room, showing that Dr. Li couldn't possibly refuse such a deal. But two of Dr. Li's apprentices barge in, questioning why Head let a stranger use their sacred room. The old doctor snaps, telling them to shut their mouths, declaring that their combined skills are trash tier compared to Xiao Chen's. The apprentices are still skeptical, whispering that their master must have been scammed by this kid. But suddenly, an overwhelmingly fragrant aroma hits them, smelling like the most potent ginseng they've ever encountered. Dr. Li is completely shocked, realizing that even his priceless 1,000-year-old ginseng couldn't produce a scent this powerful. Our boy emerges, holding a bowl of refined herbs, and smugly points out their trash-tier equipment is what's holding them back. The old doctor and his students are left dumbfounded, inhaling the impossibly strong fragrance coming from the bowl. Dr. Li remembers smelling an aroma like this only once before, from a pill made by a true master using an ancient alchemical method. He asks if Xiao Chen is using that legendary method, and our boy just smirks, confirming his suspicions. Desperate, Dr. Li practically begs, promising to fetch the 1,000-year-old herbs immediately if Xiao Chen will teach them. Just then, another, even older man appears in the garden, drawn by the incredible scent, and calling out to Dr. Li. From the aroma alone, the elder deduces that the herb must be at least 8,000 years old. Dr. Li tries to explain to his master that this incredible medicine was refined from their own ginseng, not by him. The old master erupts, calling it nonsense and accusing Dr. Li of thinking he's lost his mind. Dr. Li nervously hands over the bowl, letting the potent aroma speak for itself. The elder alchemist takes a deep breath, his entire demeanor changing as he recognizes a fragrance he hasn't smelled in decades. Dr. Li swears on his life that he's telling the truth. It really came from their century-old stock. His master isn't buying it, questioning if Dr. Li is seriously claiming to have the skill to perform such a miracle himself. Dr. Li finally cracks, admitting he's not the one. It's a master he just met, who wants to trade this technique for their best herbs. The elder's eyes widen in pure ecstasy, immediately ordering Dr. Li to bring out the 10,000-year-old ginseng he's been hiding. Suddenly, it's all hands on deck as the apprentices rush to load up a car with their most priceless ingredients for Xiao Chen. The once skeptical elder is now all smiles, hoping our boy will consider them for any future business, a deal Xiao Chen happily accepts. As Xiao Chen drives off, the apprentices gossip, wondering if their master's old age is making him foolish for giving away so many treasures. But the elder alchemist overheard everything, and whips around, absolutely furious at their trash-tier ignorance. He schools them, declaring that with this new refining method, their house will prosper for 1,000 years. Meeting Xiao Chen was the best thing that ever happened to him. Meanwhile, our boy returns to the villa he's staying at, ready to get to work. Inside, he begins the refinement process, using the spiritual energy from a luminous pearl to fuel his cultivation. He can feel himself on the verge of another breakthrough thanks to the pearl's potent energy. Turns out, he chose this location specifically because it's a hotspot for spiritual energy, perfect for his work. With a confident smirk, he finishes the concoction, knowing this medicine will be more than enough to restore Grandpa Meng's health. The final product is a single, potent golden pill, shimmering with power. Now, with the cure in hand, he looks out the window, ready to settle his business with the Meng family once and for all. But as he heads out, our boy spots some serious trouble brewing on the street. He instantly recognizes the victims, its appraiser's son and his granddaughter from the antique shop. He notes that the duo are skilled martial artists, holding their own with swords against armed thugs. One of the goons just smirks and unloads his rifle, mockingly apologizing to the old master. With incredible skill, appraiser's son deflects the volley of bullets with nothing but his blade. But against modern weapons, even a master can't be perfect. A stray bullet clips him in the shoulder. The old man stumbles back in pain, leaving him completely vulnerable. His granddaughter cries out in alarm, her focus shattered for a split second. That's all the opening her opponent needs, brutally smashing his rifle butt right into her chest. She collapses to the ground, bleeding, as the thug looms over her, promising to finish the job. But out of nowhere, our boy Xiao Chen appears, deciding that fate itself has brought him here to save them. The red-haired thug, completely oblivious, screams that she's about to die as he takes aim. Without missing a beat, Xiao Chen grabs the granddaughter's sword, telling her he needs to borrow it. He instantly unleashes a blindingly fast slash, moving to intercept the attack. The thug's rifle is sliced clean in half, the sheer speed of the attack leaving him dumbfounded. Stumbling back, the goon demands to know who the hell he is, warning him that he's interfering with powerful people. Xiao Chen just calmly walks forward, stating that he doesn't care who they work for. Their plans are officially over. The other thugs finally snap out of it and surround him, thinking their numbers will give them an edge. They couldn't be more wrong, as Xiao Chen moves in a blur, disarming one and sending him flying through the air. In a whirlwind of precise strikes, he dismantles the entire squad before they can even get another shot off. With the trash taken out, Xiao Chen stands over the last conscious thug, his sword pinning the man down. He scoffs at the goon, wondering how trash-tier fighters like them even got hired for this kind of work. As he turns to leave, appraiser's son calls out, trying to place where he's seen this incredible young man before. Our boy casually reminds the old man that they crossed paths on Antique Street. The memory clicks for appraiser's son. This is the kid who expertly appraised that luminous pearl. He thanks Xiao Chen profusely, absolutely floored that someone so young could already be a Grandmaster-level expert. Xiao Chen is completely dumbfounded, having never heard the term Grandmaster in his life. He only knows the cultivation realms. The old appraiser is equally shocked, explaining that this is the standard ranking system for all martial artists. He reveals that the thugs were all at the Mingjin level, a rank he could have handled in his prime if not for his recent cultivation issues. This sparks a realization in Xiao Chen. There must be two different power systems. one for cultivators like him and another for the martial artists below. Our boy brushes off the martial artist rankings, tossing his sword to the granddaughter as he prepares to help the old man. Feeling a karmic connection, he decides to lend a hand, striking Appraiser Sun's chest with a two-fingered energy technique. The granddaughter freaks out when a bloody mark appears, screaming at Xiao Chen and asking what he just did to her grandpa. Xiao Chen just smirks, telling her to relax and just wait for the old man to catch his breath. After a small cough, the granddaughter anxiously checks on her grandfather, who seems to be recovering. The old appraiser is absolutely floored, explaining that for weeks he's felt a tightness in his chest that blocked his cultivation. But now, after that single finger strike, his energy is completely harmonized, and he feels better than he has in years. Xiao Chen then casually reveals he knows the old man's technique, and drops a bombshell. He's been practicing a fake version. Appraiser Sun is utterly stunned, unable to believe that the technique he's dedicated his life to could be a counterfeit. He clutches his chest, the weight of this revelation hitting him like a truck as his granddaughter watches in disbelief. To prove his point, Xiao Chen explains that the technique was passed down through generations, leading to a critical error. He flips through the old man's book, noting that an error in transmission meant the entire second half was a trash-tier fake. Needing to make some edits, he casually asks the still-stunned granddaughter for a pen, which she hands over. With blinding speed, our boy starts rewriting the flawed scriptures directly onto the pages of the ancient text. He then hands the corrected book back to the dumbfounded Appraiser Sun, telling him to practice this new, authentic version. The moment the old man opens the book, it erupts in a blinding golden light, radiating an immense and pure energy. A surge of power flows through his veins as he clenches his fist, finally understanding the true essence of the technique. Brimming with newfound strength, he unleashes a single, casual punch that completely obliterates a nearby stone monument. The raw power is so immense it leaves some poor guy just cycling past completely shell-shocked by the sudden explosion. The cyclist, having dodged a chunk of concrete, starts yelling at Appraiser Sun for destroying public property. The old man can only apologize sheepishly while our boy and the granddaughter look on, slightly embarrassed by the scene. Completely in awe, Appraiser Sun turns to Xiao Chen, calling him master, and asking how he could possibly have corrected the technique. Xiao Chen just shrugs it off, explaining he wrote that trash-tier technique as a joke for his master when he was 10. Humbled beyond belief, the old man introduces himself as Sun Mingfan and eagerly offers his contact information. Our boy accepts the card, recognizing the Sun family as a major player in the medical aesthetics industry. Just then, the granddaughter's phone rings. It's a man named Zhao Lizuo, calling to schedule a promised meeting. The moment Xiao Chen hears that name, his eyes narrow with sudden interest. He immediately asks if this Zhao Lizuo is the same snake who gave the old man that flawed, dangerous technique. Turns out, the Sun family is trying to partner with Zhao Lizuo's company to break into the Tianshui beauty market. The old man admits that even though something feels off, he can't just break a promise to meet the guy. His granddaughter connects the dots, wondering if Zhao deliberately gave him a flawed technique to sabotage their cooperation from the start. Worried for her grandpa's safety, she desperately begs Xiao Chen to accompany them, offering to pay any price. But our boy isn't interested in money. He reveals he has his own past grievances with Zhao Lizuo. He then coldly states that by saving the old man's life, he's repaid his debt from Antique Street, and their ties are now cut. As he walks away, the granddaughter calls out, but he doesn't even look back. He does, however, offer a parting shot, explaining the technique wasn't malicious, just a trash-tier patch-up by an amateur. The old man scolds his granddaughter for her impulsiveness, reminding her that you can't buy a master of this caliber with money. Resigned, he decides they'll just have to be extremely cautious when they finally meet Zhao on their own. As he walks, Xiao Chen sighs, reflecting on how troublesome worldly matters and their karmic ties can be. He reminds himself to stay focused. After dealing with the Mangs, he has to get revenge on the Su family. Later that night, he finds himself in a high-rise office building, has meeting with Meng Xiner, who surprisingly asks him for Sun Mingfan's contact information. She explains that the Sun family is expanding, and a partnership with them is a game-changer, but she has no connections. Our boy simply slides a business card over to her, offering it as a potential solution. Meng Xiner is completely dumbfounded, wondering if this is really the contact for the head of the Sun family. He just smirks and tells her to try it out for herself if she's so skeptical. A confident smile spreads across her face as she prepares to make the call, holding the golden ticket in her hand. Xiao Chen watches her, thinking to himself that it seems he can't avoid getting involved with the Sun family after all. To his surprise, Meng Xiner's call is a massive success, and she happily confirms their meeting at the Tengfei Villa. The scene shifts to the luxurious villa, a grand estate nestled in the mountains, where the meeting is set to take place. Meanwhile, another party arrives, the arrogant Zhao Lizuo from the Excellence Group, wondering why Mr. Sun suddenly invited them after an initial rejection. Turns out, Zhao Lizuo is in a foul mood, absolutely ripping into his subordinate for his son's trash-tier performance on another project. He screams that if they don't secure the deal with Mr. Sun today, his subordinate can just pack his bags and get lost. The terrified subordinate can only bow and agree, not daring to talk back to his enraged boss. Internally, however, the subordinate is seething, cursing the Meng family for putting him in this miserable position. Just then, Ming Ziner and our boy Xiao Chen arrive, looking cool, calm, and collected as they walk onto the property. Zhao Lizuo spots them from a distance, a look of utter disbelief and annoyance crossing his face. He greets Meng Xinar with a condescending smirk, mocking her for even bothering to show up when Mr. Sun's decision is already made. But Meng Xinar isn't fazed one bit, coolly asking him what business he has here. Zhao Lizuo just laughs, saying he's here for Mr. Sun, and sarcastically asks if she is too. She confirms that's exactly why she's here, much to his amusement. He tells her to stop being so stubborn, mocking that Dream Group has nothing to offer without their main project. He then accuses her of showing up just to sabotage his own group's success. While Meng Xinar fumes at his arrogance, he smugly invites them to watch him close the deal. Just then, the massive gates to the estate begin to creak open. Standing right there to greet them are none other than Appraiser's son and his granddaughter. Zhao's entire personality flips as he puts on a huge, fake smile and waves eagerly at the old man. But Mr. Sun cuts him dead, asking why he's here since he already told someone to cancel their meeting, leaving Zhao absolutely dumbfounded. Zhao is left completely speechless, his brain short-circuiting from the public rejection. Appraiser's son turns to his granddaughter, Sun Mengru, and asks her what's going on with this guy. She plays along perfectly, apologizing to her grandpa for forgetting to inform Zhao that his appointment was cancelled. Mr. Sun then offers to call a driver to take Zhao back, a polite but brutal way of telling him to get lost. Snapping out of his stupor, a desperate Zhao grabs the old man, insisting his excellence group is the best choice for a partner, but Appraiser's son is having none of it, slapping his hand away with a look of pure disgust. With a dead serious expression, he informs Zhao that he's sorry, but a decision has already been made. He drops the final bombshell. He's already decided to work with Dream Group, leaving Zhao utterly shattered. Just then, Meng Xinar and our boy Xiao Chen arrive, and she smoothly apologizes to Mr. Sun for being late. She then turns to her rival, feigning innocence as she asks when this deal was made, twisting the knife with a smile. With a sly grin, Appraiser's son explains that he literally just made the decision a few moments ago. He then reveals that since he owes an immense debt to Xiao Chen, he naturally trusts his wife as well. Meng Xinar is left completely dumbfounded, processing the fact that the old man thinks she and our boy are a couple. Xiao Chen, however, immediately sees through the scheme, realizing this was all a public performance to reject Zhao and show them goodwill. He gives Meng Xinar a playful nudge, telling her not to keep her new business partner waiting. The deal is officially sealed with a handshake, both promising a fruitful partnership ahead. Zhao can only watch from a distance, his fist trembling with pure, unadulterated rage as his plans crumble. To twist the knife, Sun's granddaughter steps in, politely offering to call a car to take him home. He grits his teeth, the sheer humiliation of being kicked out so thoroughly making his blood boil. Watching them leave, Zhao mutters to himself, finally admitting that Meng Ziner is a far more dangerous rival than he ever gave her credit for. Zhao seethes, vowing to settle both old and new scores with them eventually. Our boy Xiao Chen, meanwhile, couldn't care less, imagining a big thumbs down for the sore loser. Zhao's rage intensifies as he swears that Xiao Chen, especially, will pay for this humiliation. As he storms to his car, his incompetent subordinate comes running, looking absolutely desperate. The man pathetically begs President Zhao for another chance, pleading not to be fired. But it's no use. Zhao's bodyguards immediately grab the trash, tier underling, and start dragging him away. From inside the car, Zhao coldly remarks that anyone who fails to do their job properly can't complain when they have to face the inevitable repercussions for their failure. Wasting no time, he orders his assistant to activate a trap that was set up by Zhao Jinming. But the plan immediately hits a wall, when his contact, Lu Hanyun, is left dumbfounded by the news that Zhao Jinming is already dead. Back in the office, Lu Hanyun is on the phone demanding to know what happened to Zhao Jinming. She explains to the group that he was in charge of loans, and had recently taken out a massive sum before vanishing. The news is grim. Her contact just confirmed that construction workers found his body encased in a cement pile. Xiao Chen just smirks, thinking how awfully convenient it is for their enemy to die at this exact moment. Our boy cuts the chatter short, telling them to forget the detective work and focus on the loan they're here to discuss. But there's another problem. Lu Hanyun anxiously notes that their contact, Mr. Huo, is already an hour late. Speak of the devil. a smug-looking man in a flashy purple suit finally strolls through the door. Meng Jiner immediately gets up to greet Mr. Huo, trying to salvage the meeting with a welcoming smile. Unfortunately, he overheard everything and asks if they had a problem with him being a little late. With a trash-tier grin, he declares that if they're so displeased, the loan discussion is over before it even began. Meng Jiner and her secretary are left completely dumbfounded by his audacity. Lu Hanyun immediately jumps in to apologize profusely, trying to salvage the meeting before it completely implodes. But Mr. Huo isn't having it, disrespectfully kicking his feet up onto the table. He smugly informs them he's in a hurry, giving them a measly 10 minutes to make their pitch. Swallowing her pride, Meng Jiner gets straight to the point, acknowledging how busy he is. Lu Hanyun explains that Dream Group has secured several billion-dollar projects and now needs a loan of 300 million. She desperately tries to reassure him of the contract's value, promising they'll repay the money as fast as possible. Mr. Huo leans in with a sleazy grin, getting way too close for comfort as he takes the documents from her. Lu Hanyun is absolutely fuming, barely able to contain her rage at his disgusting behavior. After a quick glance at the papers, Mr. Huo finally understands. He sees exactly why President Zhao wants to disrupt their cash flow. Turns out, this was all a setup orchestrated by Zhao Lizuo, who ordered his crony to block Dream Group's funding no matter what. Mr. Huo thinks to himself that as long as he's involved, Dream Group can kiss any chance of a loan goodbye. He dramatically flings the documents into the air, sarcastically telling them he's already reviewed their credentials. The two women are completely dumbfounded by his audacity, and even our boy Xiao Chen's eyes sharpen at the blatant disrespect. With a sleazy grin, Mr. Huo drops the bomb. He claims they have a 300 million loan that's been overdue for 8 months. Meng Jiner is floored, instantly realizing this must be a trap left behind by a former executive, Zhao Jinming, before he was forced to resign. Mr. Huo smugly continues, explaining that he's already contacted every bank he knows to blacklist them. He leans in with a look of pure contempt, telling them not to even dream of borrowing a single cent. Desperate, Meng Jiner pleads with him, promising to handle the fake debt and begging him to consider their company's stellar history. But he just gives her a trash-tier smile, coldly repeating that when he says not a cent, he means it. Then, Mr. Huo drops the sleaziest condition imaginable. He'll consider the loan if she spends the night with him. Lu Hanyun immediately fires back, telling the creep to watch his mouth since they're here for business. But the scumbag just doubles down, crudely suggesting she could easily earn the 300 million by selling her body. Our boy Xiao Chen has finally had enough, his cold voice cutting in to note that Mr. Huo seems like a man who's never been beaten. Completely unfazed, Mr. Huo just scoffs and dares him to try anything, practically begging for a punch. Meng Jiner tries to calm Xiao Chen down, but he just smirks, assuring her that he never planned on using violence. This just makes Mr. Huo laugh hysterically, mocking our boy for being too weak to defend his woman. Xiao Chen's chilling smile, however, promises something far worse than a simple beating. As Mr. Huo gets up to leave, he makes one last disgusting offer, telling Meng Jiner his arms are always open for her. But as he stands, a strange spiritual energy suddenly wraps around the chair he was just sitting in. Before he can even take a step, the massive chandelier above comes crashing down right on top of him. The scumbag is slammed to the floor, screaming in agony, as Lu Hanyun watches in utter disbelief. Both she and Meng Jiner are completely dumbfounded, realizing the chandelier just fell as if by some dark magic. Our boy Xiao Chen, however, just leans back with a satisfied smirk, remarking that it seems even the heavens couldn't stand the guy's trash behavior. He looms over the pinned Mr. Huo, coldly advising him to try and accumulate some better karma in his next life. Desperate and bleeding, Mr. Huo grabs onto Xiao Chen's leg, pathetically begging for someone to call an ambulance. But Xiao Chen just crouches down, mockingly reminding him that they're in a huge rush to find someone willing to lend them money. He then gives a chilling lecture on how being crushed can lead to permanent paralysis, adding that the room is conveniently soundproof. The threat hits home, and Mr. Huo finally breaks, screaming that he'll lend them the money and make the call right now. With a triumphant smile, Xiao Chen pulls out a pre-written contract, telling the terrified man it's time to seal the deal. With the deal done and an ambulance on the way for Mr. Huo, our crew makes their exit. Meng Jiner can't shake the feeling of guilt, admitting to Lu Hanyun that even though they got the money, the method felt wrong. When they both stare at Xiao Chen, he just plays dumb, insisting he did nothing and the chandelier fell all on its own. Suddenly, his phone pings, breaking the tension. He glances at the message, his expression turning serious as the women look on, confused. Without much explanation, he tells them to head back while he steps out for a bit. When asked where he's going, he just waves and cryptically says he's off to accumulate some good karma. Meng Jiner is left dumbfounded, wondering if that perfectly timed chandelier fall was really just a coincidence. The scene cuts to a morgue, where a detective tells Xiao Chen the corpse from his wall is linked to another murder. The detective explains that the killer's method of disposing of the bodies is practically identical. Our boy agrees, theorizing that while the killers might be different, the mastermind is definitely the same person. When the detective asks for clues, Xiao Chen admits he's just working off a hunch for now. But with a glint in his eye, he reveals that if his suspect is who he thinks it is, a lead should pop up very soon. The scene cuts to Li Hai, one of Zhao's goons, desperately begging his boss to save him. His boss, Zhao Lizuo, casually asks if this Su Chen is the one threatening him. Turns out, Xiao Chen sent a text directly calling him out and mentioning a lie-detecting ring, putting the fear of God into him. Li Hai frantically explains this guy uses some bizarre magic, recalling how he single-handedly crushed Qingshan Hall and left a mark on his arm. As he speaks, a glowing golden seal on his arm flares to life, a nasty little curse left by our boy. The seal activates, and Li Hai collapses to the floor, screaming in pure agony as it burns him from the inside out. Fed up with the noise, Zhao Lizuo unleashes a blast of violent energy, clearly intending to silence his useless subordinate for good. But just as the blast is about to hit, a mysterious figure appears and stops the attack dead in its tracks. This newcomer, Sheki, easily contains the energy, dismissing Zhao Lizuo's powerful move as a mere parlor trick. He floats down with a sinister aura, coolly asking if all the screaming from Li Hai was really necessary. Li Hai is completely dumbfounded, realizing that the agonizing rune on his arm has suddenly vanished. He freaks out at Sheki for scaring him, but the newcomer just scoffs, saying he's tired of cleaning up his messes. With the situation handled, Zhao Lizuo calmly asks for Shechi's professional opinion on this Su Chen character. Sheki grabs Li Hai's arm, inspecting the lingering traces of the curse our boy left behind. He deduces that the caster has at least reached a basic level of proficiency with incantations. However, he's never heard of the name and notes the technique is unorthodox, pegging Xiao Chen as a self-taught rogue. A sadistic grin spreads across Sheki's face as he reveals his deep-seated hatred for these rogues, declaring they all deserve to be slaughtered. Zhao Lizuo asks if he's really sure he can handle this guy, but Sheki just bursts out laughing, finding the whole situation pathetic. Furious, Zhao orders him to deal with the punk who dared to operate on his turf, wanting him erased for good. Meanwhile, our boy arrives at a desolate, abandoned factory, knowing full well he's walking into a trap. He gets his hands on the heavy shutter door and begins to pry it open with ease. With a show of strength, he lifts the entire thing, stepping into the darkness. He calls out into the cavernous space, announcing his arrival to Li Hai. Xiao Chen walks deeper into the empty warehouse, totally unfazed by the obvious ambush. Suddenly, Li Hai appears from the shadows, greeting him with a suspicious level of friendliness. The goon explains that the rune on his arm vanished, and he was so scared Xiao Chen would misunderstand that he called him out to see for himself. Our boy sighs, annoyed at being called out for such a trivial matter, but tells him to roll up his sleeve so he can take a look. Xiao Chen agrees, thinking this is a waste of his time, but he'll get it over with. But as Li Hai pulls up his sleeve, a sinister green rune flares to life. The mark wasn't gone, it was a trigger. Before our boy can react, the goon grabs his wrist with an iron grip, a look of shock flashing across Xiao Chen's face. Li Hai screams out that he's secured the target, signaling for the real masterminds to make their move. And from the shadows emerges a new player, a man named Sheki, who's been watching this whole pathetic play unfold. Sheki smirks, gloating that someone like Xiao Chen, who relies on unorthodox methods, is no match for a true practitioner. Suddenly, a massive binding circle erupts from the floor, trapping our boy in a vortex of green energy. The new villain laughs, mocking how easy it was to ensnare him, as a giant spectral snake begins to form from the array. He tells Xiao Chen to face reality and accept his place as a mere mortal before his overwhelming power. But our boy just scoffs, utterly disappointed that he finally met someone who uses proper techniques, but they're still so trashed here. He smirks, realizing his master was right. There are barely any true martial artists left in this world. With a flick of his finger, our boy unleashes his own technique, a colossal golden dragon that dwarfs the enemy's snake. The two spiritual beasts collide in a flash of light, but it's clear this is a one-sided slaughter. Without any effort at all, the golden dragon tears the pathetic snake spirit to absolute shreds. Sheki is completely dumbfounded, his mind unable to comprehend how his ultimate trap was just shattered. Before the shock can even settle in, the dragon's massive claw descends to deliver judgment. It slams him into the ground with overwhelming force, crushing the arrogant practitioner in a single blow. With the light show over, Xiao Chen turns his attention to the fool still clinging to his arm. Li Hai is now pale as a ghost, sweating profusely as he realizes he's grabbed onto a literal god of death. Our boy gives his wrist a simple twist, and the sound of cracking bones echoes as he effortlessly breaks the goon's grip. With his eyes glowing, Xiao Chen leans in and coldly informs the terrified goon that his turn has come. Li Hai immediately drops to his knees, begging for his life and offering to sell out his boss, Zhao Lizhuo. But just as he's about to spill the secrets, he starts convulsing violently, blood spewing from his mouth. Turns out, the nearly dead Sheki had a backup plan, sneering that he knew Li Hai was a spineless coward. With his last breath, he cackles that anyone who dares betray their master is marked for death. And just like that, Li Hai's body goes limp, leaving Xiao Chen with another dead end. Suddenly, 2 police officers burst onto the scene, guns drawn, shouting for everyone to freeze. They find our boy standing calmly over the bodies, who simply tells them they're a bit late to the party. Xiao Chen then offers to escort the main target back, ready to cooperate with the authorities. The 2 officers are left completely speechless, unable to comprehend how the entire battle is already over. Officer De Chen can't believe it. They spent a whole day and night on this plan, and our boy ended it in minutes. Later, back at the police station, the interrogation of the captured assassin begins. Da Chen grills the suspect, demanding to know if he was behind Zhao Jinming's death, but the killer just scoffs. The assassin, Sheki, calls his target a worthless bum, saying it doesn't even matter who killed him. He then flashes his fangs, warning them that his master will hunt them down for daring to capture him. Meanwhile, Xiao Chen is calmly playing a board game with the Meng family's butler. Lin Meiki introduces a new face, Meng Xiner's cousin, Yan Shasha, a kickboxing pro who just returned from abroad. She explains that after the incident with Zhang Dong, she wanted extra protection and hired Yan Shasha as a bodyguard. The butler is a bit confused, asking if Xiao Chen's protection wasn't already enough for the young miss. But our boy just smiles, saying he's been busy with police matters anyway, so another bodyguard is a great idea. Lin Meiki scoffs at the idea of him helping the police, telling him to quit spouting nonsense. Just then, the door to the room slides open with a soft click. It's Meng Xiner, who's completely surprised to find her cousin Shasha standing there. Her mother happily explains she brought Shasha back to be her bodyguard, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The newly appointed bodyguard wastes no time and walks straight over to Xiao Chen and the butler. She gets right in his face asking if he's the infamous Xiao Chen, and our boy coolly confirms it. Yan Shasha lays down the law, saying she's fiercely protective of Shiner, who she treats like her own sister. And in her opinion, a guy like him is completely unworthy of her cousin. Our boy just smirks, retorting that her insight into martial arts and people is equally trashed here. And to punctuate his point, he slams down a game piece, checkmating the utterly dumbfounded butler. Yan Shasha is absolutely seething, his words hitting a nerve she didn't even know she had. But Xiao Chen isn't done, calmly schooling her that her techniques are all based on raw power. He warns that if she keeps relying on brute strength, she won't last 10 moves against a real expert. She's completely blown away by his audacity, unable to believe what she's hearing. Internally, she fumes, thinking her aunt was right, this guy is nothing but an arrogant fool. But suddenly, Xiao Chen's focus shifts. His eyes narrow as he senses a disturbance in his spiritual barrier. A smirk plays on his lips as he realizes the enemy's backup couldn't hold back any longer. With a flash of coldness in his eyes, he notes with some annoyance that one of the rats managed to escape. Without another word, he pulls out 2 golden amulets from within his robes. He hands one to Meng Xiner, telling his wife he has to step out and that she needs to wear it for protection. Meng Xiner expresses her concern for him, but her cousin Yan Shasha just scoffs at the tattered amulet. Meanwhile, lurking in the trees outside the Meng villa, a new predator watches from the darkness. This beast of a man, acting on intel from Zhao Lizhuo, confirms he's in the right place to find his target. Back inside, Yan Shasha is still running her mouth, convinced our boy can't be trusted sneaking out at night. Her words are cut short as the glass shatters and the wolf-like assassin crashes right into the living room. The family is frozen in terror, but Yan Shasha, ever the fighter, instinctively steps forward to protect them. The intruder glares at them, his voice a low growl as he asks if he heard them mention Su Chen. Yan Shasha bravely stands her ground, demanding to know who the hell this monster is. But he's not here to talk. With a deafening roar, he screams for Su Chen to come out and face his death. The assassin unleashes a devastating spiritual blade meant to cleave them all in 2. The immense pressure hits the non-fighters first, causing Lin Meiki to scream in agony as Meng Xiner panics. The old butler is completely dumbfounded, wondering what kind of demonic power this is. But just as the attack is about to land, 2 golden talismans burst forth from Meng Xiner's chest. They erupt into a brilliant golden barrier, effortlessly deflecting the deadly strike and shielding everyone inside. It suddenly clicks for Meng Xiner, this is the protective amulet our boy Su Chen had given her. In an instant, the crushing headache vanishes, leaving both her and her mother completely unharmed and amazed. The wolfman is stunned, He knows only the brawler has any real power. So how did these trash-tier civilians block his killing blow? Yanshasha doesn't give him time to think, powering up her fists and screaming that he won't touch anyone under her watch. She unleashes a powerful punch right into the wolfman's gut, but he doesn't even budge an inch. He just grins, baring his fangs as he mockingly asks if her punch is made of cotton. Yanshasha is completely dumbfounded. Her strongest attack had absolutely no effect on this monster. With a bored sigh, he effortlessly grabs her and the nearby officer, smashing them into the pavement like ragdolls. Mengxiner and her mother can only watch in horror, screaming Yanshasha's name as she's taken down. Pinned under his boot, she reflects on her 10 years of training. Unable to believe she couldn't even shake him, she suddenly recalls Su Chen's advice that she wasn't suited for power techniques and should focus on speed instead. Having dealt with the small fry, the wolfman roars, demanding that Su Chen come out and face him. Just then, a blinding golden light descends as our boy's voice rings out, glad that the target he was hunting came right to him. The wolfman, Sheki, roars as he tries to push back against the overwhelming golden energy, but it's a futile effort. He can only grit his teeth as he's completely overpowered. A pillar of light smashes him into the pavement, leaving him broken in a crater. Su Chen stands over his defeated foe, casually telling the police officers that he's all theirs now. He instructs them to take this trash back and interrogate him thoroughly to find out who sent him. Our boy then turns to Mengxiner and her mother, greeting them with a calm smile as if nothing happened. Lin Meiki is utterly dumbfounded, asking why he's with the police and if he's actually one of them. Su Chen just grins back, confirming her suspicions with a simple, confident question. Meanwhile, Yanshasha has an epiphany, realizing Su Chen's power isn't just brute force but a legendary technique far beyond her comprehension. Still reeling, Yanshasha approaches our boy, asking if he truly thinks she's unfit for power-based techniques. Su Chen just smirks, telling her the goon she fought was average at best, and she couldn't even last 3 moves against him. The brutal honesty hits her like a truck. She finally understands the massive gap between them. With her pride shattered, Yanshasha bows deeply, apologizing for her arrogance and begging him for guidance on her training. Mengxiner and her mother are completely baffled, wondering why their proud cousin is suddenly bowing to Su Chen. Our boy is pleased, noting that her ability to admit her mistakes makes her a sensible person worth teaching. Deciding to do a good deed for the day, Su Chen agrees to lend her a hand. He places a hand on her head, and she looks up, completely stunned by the sudden gesture. In a flash of light, he directly imparts knowledge into her mind, a legendary technique she thought only grandmasters could use. Yanshasha is ecstatic, realizing this is a legendary encounter where a master is bestowing a secret technique upon her. Su Chen finishes the transfer, casually telling her he's passed on a technique for agility and speed, and now it's up to her to practice. Now, a loyal follower, she thanks him profusely, promising to train hard while her family watches, completely dumbfounded. Mengxiner finally connects the dots, wondering if Su Chen is the remarkable master her grandfather spoke of. Her mother, Lin Meiki, isn't buying it, grabbing Yanshasha and telling her not to fall for his cheap tricks, but Yanshasha shoves her hand away, warning her aunt not to dare disrespect her benefactor. She then demands an apology, reminding her aunt that her trash talk almost made her attack the very man who's helping her. Lin Meiki is flustered, stammering that she was only speaking the truth, clearly not expecting this fierce backlash. As the police respectfully address Su Chen and lead the defeated wolf girl away, our boy and his new entourage watch them leave. Mengxiner watches the police leave, her mind reeling as she realizes they're treating Su Chen with an incredible amount of respect. Our boy then turns to the family butler, casually reminding him to give the old man his daily dose of medicine, further proving his value. Lin Meiki, however, is seething, accusing Su Chen of being a cunning manipulator who's just trying to suck up to her father. Fed up, Mengxiner finally snaps, demanding her mother stop targeting the very man who's been saving their family from the shadows. She then turns her back and walks away, leaving her mother completely stunned by this sudden act of defiance. Lin Meiki frantically chases after her, yelling at her not to be fooled, while Su Chen simply watches the chaos with a knowing smirk. 3 days later, the story picks up at the city police station. Su Chen sits down with the officers in charge, getting straight to the point and asking for an update on the interrogation. But the officers look exhausted, explaining that Sheki is one tough nut to crack and hasn't said a single word in 3 days. Officer Xiaosu explains their only move so far is putting out a $100,000 reward for any info on Sheki's crew. Suddenly, a panicked woman bursts into the room, desperately calling out for help. The officers are stunned to recognize her as Li Ronghua, the president of the Black Flower Bank, who frantically says she needs to report a crime. She dismisses the reward money, claiming she has intel on Sheki but needs the police to solve her own terrifying problem first. With pure horror in her eyes, she confesses that someone is hiding in her house, watching her every move. Our boy's interest is immediately piqued. A stalker case connected to their silent prisoner is the breakthrough he needed. As the officers help the trembling woman to a chair, she begins to explain that her nightmare started about a month ago. Her hands shake uncontrollably as she accepts a cup of water, trying to compose herself. She recounts the chilling feeling that something was just off in her house, an unseen presence lurking in the shadows. She explains that every night, the silence of her home is broken by strange cries and eerie footsteps. At first, she dismissed it as stress, until one day she saw a shadowy figure moving through her living room. This thing would appear every single night, weeping in front of a painting hanging on her wall. She tried to confront the intruder once, but it was incredibly strong, and knocked her unconscious in the struggle. Our boy is intrigued by this bizarre behavior, and asks if she managed to see the person's face. She shakes her head, explaining it was too dark, and she was too terrified to get a clear look. He then pivots, asking to see the wound she received during their confrontation. Without hesitation, she sets down her cup and begins to unbuckle her belt. She lifts her shirt to reveal 4 wicked-looking black claw marks etched into her stomach. The 2 officers can only stare, dumbfounded, as they realize this is far from a simple break-in. A smirk spreads across Xiao Chen's face as he puts the pieces together, asking if she needs protection. Before she can answer, he grabs her wrist and declares they're going to her place so he can handle things. They soon arrive at her modern, multi-story home, the very scene of the nightly hauntings. Li Ronghua is an absolute wreck, hiding behind our boy and begging him to shield her if the creature shows up. Xiao Chen strides in without a hint of fear, leaving the poor police officer screaming not to be left behind. He heads straight for the infamous painting, immediately confirming his suspicions about its importance. Suddenly, Li Ronghua freezes, thinking she heard a noise from the bedroom, but Xiao Chen remains completely unfazed. He calmly tells her there's no stranger in the house, a statement that leaves her utterly confused. He then directs her attention back to the painting, telling her to really look at the figure depicted in it. Her eyes widen as she realizes the truth. The weeping intruder looks exactly like the person in the ancient artwork. Li Ronghua is still confused, asking what the resemblance even proves. Our boy explains that the figure she saw was never real. It's just an illusion created by the painting's sorrowful energy. She's completely dumbfounded, arguing that the sun-viewing map is a masterpiece from the artist's prime, so it can't be cursed. Xiao Chen just smirks, asking if the painting depicts a sunrise or a sunset, a detail art historians have debated for ages. He reveals that while the artist, Wang Mengliang, was at his peak, his fame ultimately attracted a fatal disaster. Turns out, the artist painted this while watching a setting sun, filled with despair because he was about to be executed on false charges. She asks how he can be so sure, and he replies that the painting told him everything, channeling his energy and telling her to see for herself. As she turns to look, a wave of dark, malevolent energy begins to pour out from the canvas. The shadowy figure from the painting suddenly bursts out, its eyes glowing a terrifying red as it lunges right for her. But Xiao Chen is faster, stepping in front of her with a golden barrier just as the phantom smashes against his shield. Our boy explains this isn't a real spirit, just a 1,000-year-old projection of the artist's sorrowful intent. He casually asks for a brush and paper, and a panicked Li Ronghua says she has a collection of writing tools ready. With the tools acquired, he prepares to deal with the curse in his own unique way. Xiao Chen channels his energy and swiftly writes a few characters onto a scroll. He hands it to a very skeptical Li Ronghua, who questions if a piece of paper can really stop this monster. She holds the scroll for dear life as the phantom, still bound by golden light, tries to break free. Suddenly, the spirit shatters its bindings and lunges straight for her with a horrifying roar. Just in the nick of time, the characters on the scroll erupt in a blinding golden light. The light blasts the phantom into oblivion, and Xiao Chen just smirks, having known it would work all along. With the cursed painting now cleansed, he calmly states that her problem is solved, and it's time to discuss Sheki. Our boy asks Li Ronghua about Sheki's background, and she explains it's a dark story from over a decade ago. Turns out, there was a martial arts prodigy named Song Qingming, who was the undisputed champion of Tianshui City. But his perfect record was shattered when he lost to some unknown, unorthodox fighter, completely breaking his spirit. From that day on, he went on a rampage, hunting down and killing any unorthodox artist he could find. His bloody crusade eventually forced all the martial artists of Tianshui City to unite against him. The battle was catastrophic, and though they defeated him, it came at the cost of nearly their entire top faction. Sheki, it's revealed, is one of the 4 disciples this monster took in after being exiled from the city. Li Ronghua nervously adds that the 10-year banishment seal is about to expire, and he's definitely coming back for revenge. Xiao Chen just smirks, finding the whole story fascinating, and casually asks why the police aren't preparing for this psycho's return. He then cheekily suggests she should lay low and prepare an ambush. But the look in his eyes says he has his own plans. Our boy decides he's done playing nice. From now on, he's going to be as high profile as possible. A few days later, a massive banner is hanging in the city square, openly challenging anyone who dares to fight. And the bait for this trap? 3 of Song Qingming's other disciples, bound by golden energy for all to see. They're displayed on a public stage, and the gathering crowd is dumbfounded, recognizing them as wanted criminals. People in the crowd start connecting the dots, realizing this is all a massive, public trap to lure out the exiled master. Officer Xiao Su nervously asks if this is too ostentatious, but Xiao Chen just calmly sips his tea, not a care in the world. He explains that a prideful monster like Song Qingming would never act discreetly, so this public humiliation is the perfect bait. Right on cue, a vicious blast of green and black energy tears through the air, proving his point instantly. A new challenger emerges from the destruction, a tiger-like disciple named Hu Ben, roaring for the person responsible. Cool as a cucumber, Xiao Chen raises his cup and casually admits that he's the one the guy is looking for. Hu Ben glares at our boy, disgusted that his comrades lost to a skinny monkey and calling them lazy trash. Without wasting another second, he rockets forward, vowing to teach them all a lesson after he's done with Xiao Chen. But Xiao Chen doesn't even flinch, casually sipping his tea as the green glowing fist of fury closes in. With a simple, almost bored-looking punch, he meets the attack head-on, completely stopping the disciple in his tracks. The force of the counterattack sends Hu Ben flying, and he smashes into the ground like a meteor, cracking the pavement. Xiao Chen calmly takes another sip, commenting on the rich aroma of the tea as if nothing even happened. Lying in the crater, Hu Ben is utterly dumbfounded, wondering how this kid could possess such insane punching power. Realizing he's outclassed, he decides he has no choice but to use the secret technique his master gave him. A dark, sinister energy erupts from his body as he powers up, preparing to unleash his trump card. Our boy finally looks a little serious, his eyes darkening as he senses the shift in his opponent's power. But before Hu Ben can even finish powering up, Xiao Chen closes the distance and smashes a fist straight into his face. The disciple's eyes go wide with pure shock. He never even saw the attack coming. Hu Ben is launched like a cannonball, sent flying across the park until he slams hard against a tree. Our boy just casually examines his fist, muttering that he almost misjudged his power and took out the tree by mistake. From the wreckage, however, a crazed laugh echoes as Hu Ben looks up, a bruised but maniacal grin on his face. A nearby police officer is completely dumbfounded, wondering why the guy who just got his face caved in is laughing. Hu Ben admits that Xiao Chen has some serious skills, but unfortunately for him, it's already too late. Turns out, that punch landed a nasty surprise. Our boy is now afflicted with his master's soul-devouring curse. He explains with glee that the curse will erode Xiao Chen's flesh and bones until he's nothing more than a puddle of blood. Getting back to his feet, Hu Ben can't wait to watch him roll on the ground, begging for a merciful end. As the curse takes hold, Officer Xiao Su panics, asking if our boy is okay. But in a flash, the dark energy vanishes, leaving Hu Ben absolutely dumbfounded as he screams about how this is impossible. Xiao Chen just cracks his knuckles and coldly asks if Hu Ben was the one looking forward to seeing someone beg for mercy. Before the thug can even process it, our boy unleashes a flurry of brutal kicks, sending him flying. Hu Ben crashes down in a heap right next to his already captured comrades, utterly defeated. With the trash taken care of, Xiao Chen calmly sits down for a cup of tea, announcing that all 4 mice have been caught. He takes a sip, a smirk playing on his lips, revealing that now they just have to wait for the cat to take the bait. And speak of the devil, Zhao Lizhuo appears on a balcony, pointing down and ordering his master to capture the arrogant fool. Standing beside him is the legendary Song Qingming, who casually pats the head of a prestigious master from the Chen clan like a dog. Song Qingming boasts that he's never met a rival since creating his ultimate spell, unleashing a terrifying dark aura from a talisman. The talisman flares to life, radiating a malevolent aura of pure destruction. Song Qingming mocks our boy, saying he should feel honored to witness this legendary move. Suddenly, Xiao Chen clutches his chest as a wave of dark energy hits him, much to Officer Xiao Su's alarm. He shoves her back, warning her to stay away as the sinister purple energy begins to envelop him. The sky itself twists and darkens, crackling with an unnatural purple lightning. Officer Xiao Su is completely baffled, wondering how a clear sky could turn into a storm in seconds. But our boy knows exactly what this is, a celestial phenomenon signaling an extremely vicious spell. Thinking fast, he orders Officer Xiao Su to evacuate everyone in the square immediately. From his perch, Song Qingming grins maniacally, thrilled to finally have some real excitement. He declares that hell used Xiao Chen's blood to announce his grand return to Jianshui City. But our boy's eyes just flash with golden light, ready to meet this trash-tier spell head-on. Officer Xiao Su can only watch in horror as the purple lightning intensifies, screaming his name. Song Qingming just throws his head back and laughs, absolutely certain of his victory. Suddenly, a brilliant golden light erupts from Xiao Chen, a power completely opposite to the sinister purple energy. Song Qingming's laughter dies in his throat as golden lightning tears through his dark sky, completely dumbfounded. The golden energy explodes outwards, sending everyone in the vicinity flying like bowling pins. He can't believe it. His ultimate spell, the one meant to announce his return, is being shattered. Before he can even process it, Xiao Chen is on him, grabbing him while his subordinate begs for help from the ground. The talisman in Song Qingming's hand, the very source of his spell, crumbles into dust and flames. And there stands Xiao Chen, calm and collected amidst the chaos, as if he just took out the trash. With his location exposed, Xiao Chen simply states that he's found his target. Song Qingming is losing his mind. Not only did his spell fail, but it led his enemy right to him. Our boy just smirks, asking if that pathetic attack was all he had, because he's done holding back. With a flick of his fingers, he unleashes a golden talisman of his own, a true display of power. All Song Qingming can do is scream in pure, unadulterated terror. A massive explosion of golden light erupts from Xiao Chen's position as he declares the fight over. The self-proclaimed master is sent flying, utterly dumbfounded as to how this is even possible. His mind flashes back to his first humiliating defeat, refusing to accept he's losing to another nobody. But his denial means nothing as he plummets from the sky, crashing into the ground below. He's left broken in a crater, completely and utterly defeated.